Right.
Because, what I'm saying is because
I know, it's crazy. But yeah, no, I've gone there and then gone to the second and
Damn, 6:33 the other day when we were at the baseball game.
so once he does that, he changes the way
He does that in his update. If you capture the
he does it to us, but he also has to do it.
maybe we just need to get to the pledge. Maybe we will. What you talking about?
Eliminate that completely, you know, and then I think because the draft is going to be. I don't know.
Well, it's not necessarily us. He sends it out paper.
Get your gavel.
I think once it's released to public,
yeah,
he changes.
tell Brian, shut up.
You got it.
Brian.
But, thank you
All
so
right,
much.
if you'd like to rise for Pledge of Allegiance.
I know.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Under recognition of visitors, we don't have anyone to sign in to speak, so we'll move on to roll call.
Worcester.
Here.
Whittlesey.
Here.
Fletcher.
Here.
Gump.
Here.
Brock.
Here.
Okay, under President's Report, we'll have the recognition of student achievements. Do we have a motion for accepting his resignation?
Yeah,
Mr. Gabe
you'll
Cackner.
say, can I have a motion to
Gabe.
accept his resignation? Yes.
Gabe's a kindergartner. He was kind to help another student by getting her napkins at lunch. You helped her clean up a spill and you showed kindness. I don't think Gabe is here. Caitlin Corbin. This was from Mrs. Arbogast. Caitlin was an excellent listener. She helps make our classroom a wonderful place. Braxton Rawlson. This is from Mrs. Lang. Braxton was sitting next to friends who kept talking during quiet time. Braxton moved away from those friends so he wouldn't get in trouble for talking. Smart. Nathaniel Roberts. This is from Mrs. Nicola. He gave up some of his packed lunch for a student who had none and could not charge it to his account. He bought an extra mac and cheese for the same student. Very kind. Amelia Quickle. This is from Mrs. Murph. Amelia kindly offered to include Madison in her group when she saw that she didn't have a partner. It was a true act of kindness. The last one is Cole Pruitt. This is from Mrs. Pusateri. Cole always works quietly in the computer lab. I appreciate how respectful, polite, and kind he is to me and his classmates. None of the elementary students are present, I don't believe. Middle school.
Ethan Wise. Come on up, Ethan. We're going to have you come up, we'll read your card, and then you'll walk around the table and shake hands with everyone. This is from Mr. Flanagan. During intervention, Ethan helped one of his classmates put together his math binder, so it was complete. Nice job, Ethan. Jarrett Broom. For Mrs. Barkhurst, Jarrett has been a respectful young man all year. He helped a student in the computer lab and also stopped mid-sentence when asking me a question because he realized Mr. Zazzo was giving instructions. That shows respect for our student teacher, Mr. Zazzo. So that was very nice. Dylan Lovejoy. Either from Mrs. Barkhurst again. Dylan was a very nice gentleman today as he held the door to the school open for me. He saw me coming with extra bags from a distance and waited for me. Thank you, Dylan, for your thoughtfulness.
Alyssa Schott. This is from Mrs. Wise. Alyssa has really been working hard at participating in English class. She has put forth a huge effort, and her hard work is paying off. Great job. Austin Shackelford. I didn't see Austin here. Austin, this is from Mrs. Nyland. Austin is enthusiastic about science and is a great contributor in class. He is always willing to help peers, and his positive attitude sets the mood for the class. Next, we have Tori Carpenter. This is from Mr. Peters. Thank you for all your help you give in the office. You have such. Well, from your mom. Okay. Your mom's not Mr. Peters. Okay. Just being. Oh, okay. You have such a friendly and caring way with the younger students. Keep all your hard work and caring ways. Mrs. Carpenter. Finally, we have Sean Umstadt. I didn't see Sean here either. This is from Mrs. McKay. I really appreciated your willingness to lead the 8th grade band when I substituted for Mrs. Adkins. You did an excellent job with them. They benefited from your instruction, and you were also an excellent role model for them. I'm so pleased that we have a young man like you in our school.
Brenda, did we miss someone?
No.
Okay, I wanted to make sure.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Fletcher, may I address something at this point?
Sure.
So, many of you know that we have embraced the new STEM curriculum, the Jason Learning Program this school year. And one of the key things that that program offered to the district is that we were given the rare opportunity to be able to select a student organoid. And it's a pretty amazing once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And I want Mrs. Sandell to come up and talk about the application process. And we're going to just reflect on this a little bit because we've got some exciting news tonight for you.
I printed this off so I don't forget any of the process. As the students were working on applications, it was quite a lengthy process. They had quite a bit of things that they needed to do. One of the things that they had to do was talk about their Jason experience. So what have they actually done with the Jason curriculum this particular school year? So they were rated on their use of the Jason curriculum. They had to talk about all their extracurricular activities because I think that speaks again to the well-roundedness of the student. They had to write 2 different essays. One was, and I didn't actually see the essay questions, I just saw the answers, so I'm going to assume what the questions were about. One was about particular struggle that they might have or an obstacle that they had to overcome. So that was quite an interesting essay that they had to write. And the other one was what they want to do with this science or STEM curriculum. Where do they see themselves, or what do they want to go with it? What's their interest in this particular STEM available curriculum to them? They had to create a personal video. So that was kind of interesting of them answering particular questions that were posed by the Jason team. They had to have reference letters, so 2 of them could be a parent or a support person, and 2 of them had to be from past or current teachers. So they had to upload all of those reference letters. They then had to upload their school transcripts, their attendance records, a physical form, overall fit for the program. So they really had to do quite a bit to make themselves part of this process and part of the program and part of the application. So that was all due right before spring break, at the end of March.
So we have the rare opportunity. We are one of the few districts, as you know, in the state of Ohio that is embracing this STEM curriculum. And we are fortunate enough to have the partnerships with Jason Learning to be able to offer this opportunity to one of our students. This is something that most districts, people are students are competing among 50,000 students. We are unique in that we had a small pool of applicants, so our students had a greater chance and we were guaranteed a spot. Usually in other states there's multiple districts competing among themselves. So I feel that we were very fortunate, and I'm so thrilled to be able to announce to you tonight the winner and the first student Argonaut for Waterloo, and that is Ms. Reagan.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to watch a short video that's going to explain a little bit about the Argonaut experience. So if you guys want to move to the other side so you can see it, we're going to crank that sound up as much as these little speakers will hold. It's 4 minutes and 50 seconds, so we're so proud of her. And this is, she's actually going to be traveling to the Bahamas this summer to be doing research. So let's take a look at this video and we'll learn a little bit more about her experience.
The world is a strange and amazing place, with many wonders still waiting to be explored, and mysteries to be uncovered. Follow in the footsteps of Jason, the mythological explorer, and his crew, known as the Argonauts, to help unlock these mysteries. Whether you're a student or a teacher, you too can become an Argonaut and go on missions that help to explain our world and beyond. Working alongside the best scientists and explorers in the world, you'll come to understand our planet and have the chance to change it for the better. So join a long tradition of Argonauts and explorers. Take the journey of a lifetime.
It's today's middle schoolers who will be exploring more of this Earth, its oceans, and inner space than ever before, and outer space too. And it is those same students who will be making the decisions that determine the future of our society.
As an Argo, you're joining an elite group, embarking on science missions that further our knowledge of the planet. Argos use teamwork to understand the Earth's systems while carrying forward the human spirit to explore. The right tools and technology are essential to completing your missions. Needless to say, it's vital you succeed.
The best part was going into the field. As a 16-year-old kid, you were invited to participate and go on a research expedition with some of the experts in the field. It lifted all the science out of the classroom and into something much more exciting that stuck.
Your missions consist of the following. A mission briefing. This is your background dossier on the challenges you face in the days to come. A laboratory, where you'll get the tools and techniques you need to succeed on your mission. Field assignments, where you'll put your knowledge to work side by side with researchers, scientists, and explorers who will mentor you in your journey. And then, your Argonaut Challenge, where you'll work in teams with your fellow Argonauts to meet a series of challenges and create multimedia projects using knowledge you gained in the operation. You'll share your projects via the web with other Argonauts from around the world. Throughout your mission, you'll link up with fellow Argos through live events, online journals, and message boards to share your findings and test your knowledge.
Like, they all just became my friends in an instant. Like, I've never made quicker friends than this week. And I think it's because we all share a common interest, which is the love for science and this energy topic.
Argonaut alumni include scientists, explorers, teachers, and leaders throughout society.
This last year, with the information that I've learned from the energy curriculum, I have taken my students outside more. And so I think that we are remiss with our students if we don't get them out of the box of the classroom and take them outside so that they can see the connection with the real world.
You'll come out of the program with the ability to be a global problem solver, thinking like a scientist. It'll make a difference in your growing community with the knowledge you've gained affecting real-life issues, and the experience will prepare you to succeed in whatever field you choose. The mission may end, but the Argonaut's journey is never really finished. Over the course of your entire life, you'll move on to other exciting missions, but you'll always remain a member of the Jason Argo community.
I look forward to see what this generation is going to make of their time, of their life. And I can't wait to see what the next chapter is going to be all about. You are a part of it.
So that gives you a little background. I was looking at last year's set. There was only 11 across the nation that were selected to be student Argonauts. So that is the small group of lucky individuals that could go on this experience. And I can appreciate you very much.
Okay, thank you. Just to add, I am just so excited with these kind of programs to give you the opportunity. I know you'll represent the Waterloo District well. We're excited for you. You know, we want to thank the administration and Matt and those involved with bringing this programming to the district. Anytime that we can give our students an opportunity outside the norm, it's a great thing. So we do appreciate that from all those involved. And we're just really excited, and we want you to have fun. And it took a lot to get here, and I'm just so glad that you're going to have a trip of a lifetime, hopefully. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll look forward to hearing when you come back.
Yeah. Pictures.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exciting.
Okay, moving on, I'd like to take the opportunity right now to ask for a motion to recommend the resignation of Matt Montgomery as superintendent of local schools. We wish you the best, Matt, and it's just programming like this. Your influence will be for generations to come. So we do appreciate everything that you've done for the district. So if I could get a motion.
So moved.
I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Mr. Terry?
Yes.
Whittlesey?
Yes.
Fletcher?
Yes.
Gump?
Yes.
Broad?
Yes.
Okay. Motion passes, so we can move on to the superintendent's report.
Okay, very good. We have two items for you tonight. The first one is a presentation on Dropbox, and we've been talking about this for several months, and we're really excited about the possibility of moving forward. So Beth is going to present to you about Dropbox. You've received emails already giving you a little overview of it. My hope is at the end of the presentation, you're going to give us the green light to say, yes, we want to move to Dropbox, and we have to decide what type of device we're using. Remember, the rationale for this is that we are going to save in the long run on the amount of materials that we're pushing out, specifically in paper products, and hopefully make our lives a little easier through this transition. So I will turn it over to Beth this time so she can give you a brief overview of the product.
I'll try to be as brief as possible. Lee Packey from Marlington was supposed to be here with me tonight, but she was unable to come. I've been working with her quite a bit on this. She's been very gracious with her time. Without having your devices, and she was going to bring everything with her. Brian has, I mean, if you want to see.
You're more welcome to.
Okay.
I mean, I don't have the cord to plug in with you.
Oh, okay. Well, it's really simple actually. What Dropbox is it's a cloud-based file sharing app that you download, and when you do that, it saves a file on your computer. So you can actually access your files from anywhere. You can log on to Dropbox. It's going to be especially nice for me because it takes away, first of all, like Matt said, it saves paper, saves time.
Those last minute changes will be
Yeah,
instantaneous.
it's gonna eliminate addendums completely. We're still gonna put the draft, and this is what you're seeing. So the Friday before the meeting, you will see this. This is what you're gonna see in here. And these here are bookmarks. And I didn't wanna change like the numbering or anything yet. I wish Lee was here so you can see how they do theirs, but what I would like to do, and what Michael and I were talking about, is if you wanna, can you go to attachments real quick? Sure. So you can see the bookmarks are everything that is numbered on the agenda. And really you just drag and drop files from your computer into Dropbox, into the Dropbox folder, and everything is here. So if you want to click on board policy. So as you're going through the agenda during the meeting, if you want to look at the board policy update, it's going to open Adobe. And Adobe will be loaded, Adobe Reader will be loaded. That's all you need to view this, but go ahead and scroll down. Is it just one page? But it shows the whole document.
So it's essentially what we're doing is we're taking that huge packet that you get on a monthly basis, and we're separating it out to individual items on a virtual basis so you can see all that one at a time. And when you're going through the meeting, you're not sifting through the packet. You're just clicking on those links.
It's going to be right there at your fingertips.
Now can we put the whole policy manual in there? And we can put like the handbooks and the separate handbooks and that sort of thing if we want to.
Yeah.
We have a question about something like that.
Waterloo trial room.
Sure. We had a discussion about board policy today because there's that web page to go to and they're all separated out. We'll just have a discussion if you want it in two different places or not, but we absolutely can load it. I think the handbooks are very necessary. So it essentially just says what you want in the Dropbox and we'll make it in a virtual component or turn it into a virtual component.
I'm not seeing for some reason, I did drop in there the sunshine laws. So those would be right there. And the nice thing about opening things in Adobe is Matt needed something today specifically. So I went into Adobe and I did a search on the specific thing that he was looking for. It took me right there. So if ever there's an issue or that you need to search a specific document, you can just type in the search and it'll come up. It'll be right there. So this is just basically streamlining our process from start to finish with gathering all the information, getting it to you, getting your packets. The draft will, like I said, the draft will still be in there on the Friday before. And there are a lot of, like I said, this is new to me, so there are a lot of little details that I'm still trying to work out with it. And Lee has been working with me on that, but then the night of the, and this is something that I need to talk to Matt about, Brian and I were talking about it earlier, the night of the board meeting then, I'll keep the draft in there, but you'll see the final agenda. So any changes made between the draft on Friday and the night of the meeting are gonna be in your final agenda.
We talked today about if there's significant changes, just like today, I mailed out or emailed you the addendum and then I text you to let you know to check your email. Beth or I would be notifying you of those significant changes. So
Right.
it's not a surprise
Mhm.
that those changes have happened. We just want you to, you would just go into your Dropbox to see those instead of getting a separate email
Mhm.
notifying you of an addendum.
Right. And really this can be used for anything. Instead of using all of that email space, you know, with the scanning and the emailing you, the packets and everything, it's all gonna be right there. No matter where you are, you can log on to Dropbox and you can view that.
What I like is that it keeps it organized by meeting,
Mhm.
so you're gonna have that historical perspective.
Right.
Now, what do we do in October?
And that's part of why I wanted Lee to come, because they've been using it for 3 years, Marlington. And Joe, what's Joe's
No.
name? If they've been using it for 3, they can't say enough about it. They absolutely love it.
So you should be able to historically document what's done each month, so if you think, we did that last year in October, let's click on that folder and it's all there.
It's all there, yep. And you can search, you know, if you know that in October, you know, whatever happened, you can go to that document and search that document and it'll be out there. So I think it's great. I've kind of had fun. And I think it's gonna be, yours, like if whatever you decide to use, if you decide to use an iPad or a tablet or whatever, we're gonna have those preloaded. So literally all you have to do when you open your tablet is there's gonna be a Dropbox icon. You push on that and everything is right there. It's very simple. It's not hard to figure out. The only thing that confused me a little bit was actually logging on to the Dropbox site. Everything is there, and that's where you like would do all of your like changes, settings, anything like that. If you wanted to share, if you want to delete someone from a folder, anything like that would be done online. But really, for the meetings, you would open your tablets, click on that, and everything's right there for you. So I'm excited about it, and I think Matt is too.
And our hope is we would be, if you're okay with it, we would like to order the equipment as early as tomorrow and be up and running in May.
How is it different than, how would it be different than having, like Brian has his tablet there, and he has Word on it, let's say, and he gets his email? So how is this different than you emailing the final draft, you know, and then him saving it on there and then having that? How is it different? Like, what are the different,
I mean,
why is it better?
I don't know if Beth really searched, I mean,
Well, I mean, I don't know the tech
she's
aspect
been
of
doing- Okay.
everything, because I'm new to it also.
I was just curious what the
But
difference was.
Well, I do know that this is a cloud-based storage, so you're not storing files and files and files on your computer. We're not using email
Okay.
space, you know, to send you those huge packets. I get if Matt would email me something, I take it and I throw it in the Dropbox.
And we're organizing it for you, so if what you described, so Brian is opening an email, downloading it, and saving it in the specific folder that's he labeling and organizing for himself. We are already doing that for you, and it's all in one spot. So you open it, and we've pre-populated it by month and by topic, and then you can search within each one of those sections to find something. It streamlines that and makes your life a whole lot easier. You could do the same thing, but if you did that, let's say you did it on your home computer, you could make all those files, but you're only going to get them on your home computer then.
Right.
So if you go on your phone and you want to look at the stuff, you cannot. This enables you to get it on any device.
and the other thing is you can put I have the Dropbox app on my phone, and all those files are on my phone. So I use it for work sometimes. If I'm going to be out of town for a week and I don't want to take a box of files, I throw them into my work Dropbox. And then if somebody calls and they need something, it's on my phone. I can email it right from my, those files from my phone. I can pull over to a rest stop and quickly email that, you know, that kind of stuff. So it's having the information right at your fingertips all the time. And I like the idea of organizing it, because like right now, depending on where I open the emails that we get, sometimes it's on my work computer, sometimes it's on my home computer, you know, and this kind of gets it all in one spot. And then we're all getting the same information. We all have it right there. I mean, basically, I took the files that Beth sent us, and I loaded them into my work Dropbox just so I'd have them, just to kind of see how if it was hard to follow. To be quite honestly, the reason I've never done that before is because I didn't want people to think in the audience to think I was rude. I'm up here looking at my computer during the meeting, where actually you're following the agenda, as opposed to all this, you know, all this paperwork would go away and everything would be right there. So I think that's a good thing. And while we're on the subject, I think that we should take this opportunity, in my mind, to switch over to, we all have personal email accounts, I believe, that we get our information through, and I think it would be worthwhile and a good move for us to switch over to school email accounts, so that we can, so it all ties together, you know, so we have one, you know, we have one piece of equipment that has all of our school stuff on it, you know, and everything's right there. And
here is my recommendation for that. Here are all your school emails and passwords already ready for you. Because my recommendation is that we stop using personal emails and we move to this. So your Dropbox will be attached to this, and all school emails are separate from personal emails. I think that is a great idea, so much so that I was ready to present that.
And you can, dovetailing with that, is I have my Google email set up on here so that I keep my Google email, which you could also set up our school emails through Google, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
Essentially, so that could be on here. So you can get, you know, everything right here can be right here. All your emails, all your files, all your historical data, all the stuff from all those meetings. And, you know, I've got probably 7 file cabinets, or file cabinet drawers full of school board stuff over the years that if we had had this,
I mean, that's basically what it is. It's a big file cabinet. If you can look at it that way, it's just a big file cabinet. And I cannot stress enough how simple it's going to be for you to access historical data. It is going to be so easy for you just to go in and look at it.
Okay, so do you have any questions for Beth?
Just one other question. Can you go back and put stuff, like, is it easy to go back so many years and put stuff in?
You can take out and put in whatever
So
you
will
want.
we be doing that, going back, putting some history in, or not? Are we just doing
Oh,
this
you
and
mean-
moving forward?
Okay, I see what you're saying.
I think that.
I mean, I actually.
I'm just curious.
I could. I mean, it would take some time, but I actually.
think that maybe it would be good to have this school year in.
Yeah.
That's just gonna take some time, and I'm sure that, you know, we could do that moving forward, but I think if we go any farther than a year, I think it would be pretty cumbersome
Yeah.
to load, because you have to scan each one of those attachments in a separate document, label them. It's much easier doing it 1 month at a time as opposed to, you know.
For the
back
historical
over.
thing, I don't think I would spend, my personal opinion, I don't think there's any need to spend the energy to link the agenda to the backup items like you've done, like you showed us here, where the agenda was linked to the, like that one thing, I forget what it was,
Yeah, I see.
Can you
know what I'm saying?
Just
Can you X
scan
out
the whole
that?
packet.
There's no reason to go through and spend that energy on your behalf to link, you know, back to the board policy update, link it to the agenda. If it's all in there under whatever last month was, March's board meeting, it's just all in there, and then, you know, obviously that's great for moving forward, but I don't know that,
Well,
me personally.
I'm, like I said, the numbering, I mean, all that, I'm open to suggestions. I want to make it as easy as possible for you. Literally, I mean, it took me no time to do this. It's been more of the time has been more of a preparation, and what I see is completely different. You see the finished product. What I see is completely different. So, and what I do is completely different. But, I mean, I can do whatever. I can number it however you want. I mean, whatever's gonna be the easiest for you to access that information, the attachments. I mean, it's
I
completely
like
up
that.
to
I
you.
think that's
You
really
like
nice.
that
format.
Especially
Okay.
for, moving forward, but I just mean for
Same.
your own purposes back, if you go
Right.
back, there's no reason to.
So are you in agreement that we want to move forward?
Yes.
How much is it?
This is free.
Yeah, it's
The only cost is the technology, which we said we would make up that cost in the paper that we're saving, and then some. So my question to you is, the great question of technology, what are we looking for? Chromebook, iPad, netbook, what do you want?
I have.
What do you think, Ryan?
I have an iPad for work. This is just a tool for work. iPad, it works nice. The Surfaces work nice. The one thing nice about the Surface is you get the Microsoft Office suite with it. You get Excel and you get PowerPoint, and you get Word. That's all on board on a Surface. And I think it's actually maybe less money than the iPad. Where if the iPad you're working with, like you've got to download free clones, that are similar to those programs, but they're not exact, that kind of stuff. So it's just a matter of preference.
And really, the only thing that, you would need to have Adobe Reader on there, which
Which is free.
yeah.
We have Apple at home, with the kids' computers for college, and you don't get any viruses. Is there a benefit to that? I don't.
I've never
The Mac over
I've
PC.
I've asked all kinds of questions at Marlington. I'm like, okay, so have you ever had an issue? Has it crashed? Have you not been able to access it? What if they are in the middle of a board meeting and they can? In 3 years, they have not had one issue.
What do they use?
Yeah, what is it?
They have iPads. Yeah. But it doesn't matter.
Whatever your preference is.
Are you wanting to be consistent with all of
I
us?
think that'd be easier for team
Yeah.
ordering,
That'd be cheaper.
but if we can't agree upon it, we can do individual orders. It just makes it easier to do the bulk rates and easier on processing for D.
And it's what you're used to. Like I don't use Apple products, so I'm not used to maneuvering in an app. I would prefer not Apple, but it's really up to you. I know Matt doesn't feel that way.
I use Apple.
So whatever you guys.
See, everybody in the house uses Apple but me, and
You get that big old thing.
my laptop.
No, your phone is like that big
Oh.
old thing. It's like,
Well, that's because I'm old. I can't see
look
anymore.
at that. Really? Girls, really?
It's the jitterbug a lot up here.
Mr. Fletcher, you're okay with the ladies at home teaching you how to use this iPad?
Whatever works
You're never
is
too
fine.
old to learn.
I know. That's a bigger challenge than you can imagine.
You want to keep that a school board one?
The only thing about Apple that I struggle with personally, because I've always worked.
He's got one sitting right there,
I've always
doesn't he?
used IBM's. Is when I type a file, I struggle with how to save the stupid thing. You know what I mean? Like when you're working on.
But are we gonna have to do that?
On your Office suite, you have something.
Are we even gonna have to do that? It doesn't sound like we have to do
Well,
that.
you're not going to do that. Well, in my sick mind, I want to get rid of this, so I'll be sitting here typing my notes. Any notes to a board meeting, I'll be typing in some kind of a document to save, right?
But you can do that in the.
You could do that. I'd save it in Dropbox. In this particular instance, yeah.
Can we load calendars into
Yeah,
that?
wouldn't you connect that to the agenda for that night?
I haven't thought that far ahead.
Okay, so iPads, you want that?
Yeah, iPad would be fine with me.
Good, okay, iPads it is, we'll figure it out tomorrow and we'll go from there.
Can I ask? How this is the final amount?
And these can
I might get to that.
move on,
Mr. Ford, go ahead and load up that state of the schools, please. Yes, sir.
these can move on after we're gone
Thank you,
to
Michael.
new members, in the event there's new members.
Yes.
And we can, yeah.
It would be school property and then you keep it for as long as you're, that way. Okay? Okay, Mr. Fletcher, okay if I get situated for the state of the schools?
Yes.
Give me just
I
a
was
moment.
looking for that.
Do we have the remotes out there?
Yes.
I don't know if I can,
It's so easy.
but I'm so used to a keyboard and my little mouse.
You can get a keyboard. You can get a keyboard to
Can
attach to it. You can get a mouse. You can get a wireless mouse to attach to it.
See, I'm these are like clubs. You know, if I have a mouse, I can whip all over the place, but, you know, when it,
Yes, you can get both.
Three mouses at work. I can get
There you go. See, there you go. You can even go on the paper. And keyboards, my gosh, you can get some funky ones. You can get like psychedelic or blue or purple or
Oh, gosh.
rainbow colored or soft ones that roll up and stick in your, yes, they just roll up. They roll up into like, they're like rubber and they roll up.
I'm such a dinosaur.
We're going to bring you into this century.
Screaming and crying. Yeah, Rick? Uh-huh.
You said here for many meetings, was this the program we put in from Arlington that cost 35 to 40? I missed a couple things. This program's from what we, the school board, put in to try out. It could be for 1 year, it could be 2 years. Is that not the system that we're doing now with Arlington?
We priced going to a private company to do it,
Okay,
to go paperless, and that was like
We have
20 to 30,000.
technology people right here in the school.
That's what we're using.
This is free.
This is free. It's all free.
Is it through them or through our school system?
Marlington, the Marlington secretary is working with Beth to train her on it, free. She's doing it out of the goodness of her heart.
So our people here that do the technology, are they involved in it?
Yeah, they're also
Yes.
helping as well get
Okay,
everything set up.
this originally was typed up by your secretary back in the day.
Yeah, it still does that.
The paper, yes.
So now I just want to understand.
It's the same thing, we're just putting it, instead of printing it out for everybody, we're just putting it on the computer.
Well, that's
It's costing us $0, except for buying the iPad.
iPad people. Now, what happens if you get not all people are savvy on use of the, because I see some questions already arose.
But Mr. Fletcher has two good teachers.
Yeah.
We'll still print them out for the audience, right?
So board members in the future that's not used to that new technology.
Rick,
I just wonder where the system.
Rick, this is a packet that we get once a month.
It's everyone gets one.
Every
Yeah.
board member gets one every
That's
month.
not even the changes.
And that's a small one.
I think when you said save paper, I think people need to explain what is involved when you do have the board meeting, what it costs. So you're eliminating
Right.
all the paperwork, putting it on the computer, and each one of you will have one. You push the button and see what's, to me, that makes a little more sense.
We did have, when was he here? When was Joe here? 2 years ago? When all this?
We've been talking about this for a couple.
But he came and did a presentation.
That was on the impact group.
Yeah, but at that time is whenever this all came about. That's when when he started talking about that and going with paperless. The superintendent from Marlington came, yes.
He talked to me and said, because we were looking at how to go paperless for board meetings.
Okay.
I think you got the impact group. He came and talked on the impact group, and we agreed to the impact group, but he also threw in the Dropbox. They're
That's
two
a-
different, that's two different
Things.
things.
Also, who's doing our newsletter now?
That's the impact group, right?
Yes.
Impact group, which we're paying out of taxpayers' fund. I'm just seeing where the money's coming.
Correct, I understand.
To me, when he said free, nothing's free. Somebody's gonna free.
Well, the impact.
This is.
This, what we're talking about now is free.
Free, outside of the purchase of the items.
The impact group doesn't they don't write our board packets. They don't do
And we're
our-
gonna
they
keep
don't-
track
they
of
don't-
how much we
none of
save in
that.
paper and
No.
when it pays off.
I'm not gonna keep that.
Okay.
The other thing about it is that, you know, like Friday afternoon last week, I think it was Friday, maybe Thursday, like, I'm working in my basement, my office, and the dogs are going bananas, and I'm like, what in the world's going on? I go out there, it's Tom Getz.
Mhm.
What's it cost Tom Getz to drive around to?
He don't drive mine.
He doesn't drive yours? Okay.
No.
To drop off, you know, so I mean, that kind of stuff is
I mean,
is
that's,
expensive.
time is money.
Yeah.
So the time that it takes to coordinate all these packets and then the delivery, you know, it's gonna be a fairly quick return.
Deliver those packages to each one of your homes?
He delivers them to 2 of us.
We deliver mine.
Yeah,
Could send home
I
to my
do.
daughter.
3 now? Okay. Used to be.
You know, save that little
Okay,
kid's money and
so here we go.
send it home to the kid.
Let's
Too late now.
thank Beth for all of her hard work.
Yes,
Thank you, Beth.
There's a lot more detail that, gonna have to be worked out, so, and I would be glad to help with, as I learn, I can share, so.
Do you need information from us
Just one
right
of the
now or
things,
not?
I think that, I think when we actually start doing this, it'd be a good idea that anything is added, when something's added to the Dropbox, if we just get a quick email or text or whatever it says.
And I was just thinking that.
Yeah, because like, because
I think Dropbox emails that to you, where I get notices in my email that says something's been added to your Dropbox.
now see, I didn't.
Yeah, I do too.
I didn't get one today. Beth added stuff in there, and I didn't. And I use it for work all the time. Maybe it's just a setting that I don't have set.
Right,
Maybe
it's
that's
probably,
it.
yeah, we have
Maybe
to look
we
at the
just
settings,
have to work
but
on that.
yeah.
That'd be fine. But that's because I don't check it. For new stuff, I use it for my dumping my old stuff.
So Brian, right now you got everything loaded, the board meeting on your tablet?
Right, I just thought I'd try to see how easy it is to follow. Beth had sent us, yeah, it's fine, it's kinda nice, I just was worried about, is it room to be up here looking at a screen? Instead of, that was kinda my deal, but.
Okay, so at this time, if it's okay, we're going to go ahead and start with the state of the school. Our lovely few of the students have another 40 minutes to listen to me drone on. So I don't want them to miss any of these opportunities. So here we go. So each year we present the state of the schools, and obviously it's recorded and documented. So everyone, it's kind of a dipstick or a temperature gauge of how we're doing. And we do it each spring, and I think that it is a beneficial time for us to reflect on where we have gone, where we are, and where we are going in the future. So let the fun begin. And you don't have to applaud, it's okay. So look at these fine group of people here. These now remember, some of this is already posted online, so all of you here probably know the board members, but we want to make sure that the people who are viewing it from home or at a later date have pictures with faces. Here are the 5 people that serve you as school board members. These 2 handsome fellows you know, and I think Mr. Carpenter's picture is just outstanding. And as the photographer of that picture, I didn't have a lot to work with, so cut me a little slack here. You know that we have Beth, who joined us in January of this school year, and she's been doing an outstanding job, and she took the role of administrative assistant, and Peg was the person who served that role for the first half of the school year. We have this handsome fellow in the middle, and that's Mr. McKinnon, our athletic director. Peg Engelhardt is still serving as the EMIS coordinator at this time. Now, here's a trio for you. So, I did not take this picture right here, so I can't own that. And yes, Mr. Corey does look that good. So we have high school principal, middle school principal, and don't forget Mrs. Sandell is also serving as a curriculum director, and our elementary principal, Mr. Streeter. Gotta love him. So let's reflect on our mission and core values. This is something that we developed last school year, but we are staying true with it, recognizing that the district is working with the families and the communities to really cultivate that excellence through quality education and that real life instruction to hopefully help students in their future. And we came up with some belief statements, and there's 3 of them, and the first one is cooperating with families and communities. We know that partnership is critical to success, providing a safe and nurturing environment, and then also offering that innovative instruction, things such as the Jason project that we've been working on and trying to enrich our STEM curriculum that we are offering in the district. We are truly cultivating the future. To give you a breakdown of the students that we have in each building, we have 297 students in the high school, grades 9 through 12. We have 274 in the middle school, grades 6 through 8. And then our elementary school serves K through 5 and 474 students. This is the current enrollment. So we have 1,110 students, and we're going to give you a breakdown of the different types of populations that we're serving. So we serve 37% of our students are economically disadvantaged. We also have about 20% of our students who are identified as special education. Diversity, we are limited in that outside of special education and economically disadvantaged, the diversity is limited to mostly the white population. We have a small population of multiracial, and then the Black, Asian, and Latino are less than 10. Employees in the district. We have 141 employees, and that is made up of 88 certified and 55 non-certified or classified staff. Excuse me, 53. Sorry, I can count. I promise I can. 53 non-certified staff members. 50 of our staff members have advanced degrees, which I think is a great number. So 50 out of those 88 teacher staff members have advanced degrees. In terms of operations, so we're going to talk a little bit about finances, and this is, you can see this on your computer, but I'm just going to summarize where we are. You will notice, so in this slide that Mr. Carpenter helped put forth, this is the benchmark information for this fiscal year, 2014. You will see Waterloo, so this is all the Waterloo data. This is the county, so Portage County data. The third column is average of similar districts. So these are districts that are similar to Waterloo, but may not be in Portage County. And then the fourth column is the statewide average. You will notice that the expenditure per pupil is $8,800 in this column. Our county average is $10,639. Similar districts, that's still 9,483 to our 8,800. And the statewide average is 10,977. So I want you to notice that we are still spending less per pupil than county average and the statewide average of districts. Teacher costs, the average teacher salary is $50,645. For the county, it's $57,000. For similar districts, it's $51,236, so that's pretty comparable. But then it drops, our average drops down to the statewide average of $57,000. Pupil-teacher ratio, you'll notice that ours is 15, and the county is 14, so this is per teacher ratio. This is a little complicated on how they calculate it. It's a little misleading to tell you the truth. Yes, sir?
The teacher full-time equivalents,
Yes.
is that,
So of our 88 that I listed, 71.5 of that is technically full-time.
would be what? Okay. And it's because the big difference between 71 and 130, okay, so I guess the average county school is much bigger than us. Okay.
But if you look at, Brian, if you look at this, so this is the column that I really like to compare, the average similar districts. So they have 78.7. So we're still about 7 members or several FTEs below similar districts. Pupil teacher ratio, 15 for us, 14.9 for similar, so that's pretty similar in terms of, I'm saying similar too much, districts that are close to us in terms of size. Administrator costs, we have 9 full-time equivalents. Remember that includes Barb Rock as our cafeteria supervisor, that includes Robin Ferguson as our transportation supervisor, that includes Mr. Carpenter as our treasurer, our principals and athletic director, and myself. So that makes up 9. You will notice that the similar districts is 10.5, Portage is 13.30, and we are half of the statewide average for administrators. So just things to think about. Building operations and maintenance, I think that's a great thing to take a look at because it's showing that we're being fiscally responsible with our facilities. And you will notice that our cost per square feet is 4.17. Similar districts is 5.63. And that's including salaries, supplies, purchase services, are all lumped into that. What does it cost to run the school in terms of operations and maintenance? Custodial costs, 2.30 to our 2.76 for similar districts. What we're seeing here is that we are trying to be fiscally responsible and offer a quality education to our students within our population, but we're being very cognizant of what we're spending to maintain our, or to continue to do our due diligence with the tax dollars that we receive from the community. This next slide is going to give you an updated forecast that will be approved next month by Mr. Carpenter. So he'll bring the updated 5-year forecast for your review. This is a sneak peek to that forecast. And we've got some good things to share here that I really want to hone in on. When we passed the levy in February of 2013, the 5-year emergency levy was supposed to get us through fiscal year 2017 with an ending cash balance of approximately $394,000. And we were supposed to be in the red for fiscal year 2018 to the tune of, oh, I don't have that one memorized, $381,000. And that was what we said that we would stay true for the voters. And that's what we have, that's been up our parameters to work within those. You have heard me say throughout the last 2 years that we wanted to invest into the educational product, but stay true to those numbers, because I think that's what we owe our voters. So some things have changed over those course since February of 2013, and I want to talk about it. So this first section is revenue. So that means either an increase in revenue or a decrease in revenue. So this is things that have changed with money coming in, either more or less. So let's go through some of these. So the passage of the levy is an increase in revenue. Reduction in pay to participate, which we've done the last 2 years, that is a decrease in revenue. Higher projected Medicaid reimbursement, that's an increase in revenue. Shared treasurer services, so Mr. Carpenter sharing his services with Field, that's an increase in revenue because we're spending less on salary here because we're sharing that. Teacher retirements, so as teachers retire through attrition, we are able to increase revenue for those teachers that retire. This is in red, and it's in red because we don't know for certain. So Mr. Carpenter has done a great job of taking the information that we have right now at this instant and making the financial forecast. But we're acknowledging that 2 major things are up in the air, and one of them is this: the state foundation, the governor's budget, the biennium budget that's scheduled to, it'll probably finalize in July, says that we're going to lose $100,000 per year out of our foundation. So that is a decrease in revenue. So you will notice that some things in revenue have went up, some things have went down. I will tell you that this $100,000 per year hurt us. We really feel like that's going to have an impact. If you take $100,000 out per year, that makes a lot of sense. That's at least 2 teachers for us. Now let's look at expenditures, things that have spent money or that have cost us money. Additional staffing to reduce class size. Teacher retirement replacements. Obviously, those are expenditures as well. Hospital increase of 3.6%. In the forecast, we projected 10%. So anything below 10% when it comes in for the final numbers is a win for us. So we were told through the Healthcare Consortium to project 10% of an increase. In fiscal year 2013, it came in, at 14, it came in at 3.6%. We adopted we had 2 textbook adoptions, I don't know, to the tune of maybe $150,000, I'm estimating. So that was obviously money going out. 2 new special education teachers, middle school principal and curriculum director. Remember, we had previously, when I became superintendent, I was serving as a role as middle school principal and high school principal. So then we went to Mr. Corey serving as the high school and middle school principal, and Mrs. Sandell as the assistant principal for the 612. Then this school year we have separated those out, where Mr. Corey is serving as high school, Mrs. Sandell is serving as middle school, and we've added responsibility as a part-time curriculum director, as if she didn't have enough work to do. For fiscal year 15, the hospital increase was 5% to our projected 10%. That's a good thing. So we're spending less money on healthcare. And full-time special education director, we're going to try to move to a full-time special education director for next school year. We'll talk more about that in the coming months. That's something that is hot off the presses, so we'll talk about that more. Maintaining textbook adoptions. So this next school year, we're looking at spending about $50,000 on textbooks again. We veered away from spending money on textbook adoptions on a regular basis, and I think that got us into a little bit of trouble, and we did that due to financial constraints. So Mrs. Sandella, myself, and the rest of the department chair team has been trying to be methodical in the way that we're investing in textbooks to ensure that we have a cyclical nature in the way that we are investing into our curriculum to make sure that we're not falling or lagging behind, and maintaining that our students' level of curriculum is at the best that we can offer for them. This other thing in red would be a very good thing, and I'm hoping that it's going to come through. It is a hospitalization rate pass. So that means that, remember how I told you in 2014 it came in at 3.6 versus the 10, and in 2015 it came in at 5% instead of 10. I am working feverishly to try to get a rate pass for next school year, which would mean that our increase would be 0%. The reason that that is possible is because Waterloo is the only district in the healthcare consortium, which is 22 districts right now, who is continually outperformed, and essentially their, oh help me Mr. Carpenter, their claims have been less than the money that has been assessed to offer those benefits. So we are an anomaly. They really can't figure out what's happening, to tell you the truth, and we make other people angry because we do so well with healthcare. But through that, in my involvement with the operations committee, which is a management group for the trustees who serve on the healthcare consortium, I've advocated to try to reward those districts who may have been incorrectly set in terms of their rates. And what we have arrived at is a rate pass for districts who are very high performing. We are the only district that meets that criteria. And the idea is this would happen every 5 years. We could get a rate pass, which would be a huge savings for us. And we are trying to get the rates to an appropriate level, and we think that the rate passes are the best way to do that. So taking in that revenue, now we're pulling back to big picture. I got kind of nitty gritty. Now we're going back to big picture. Taking in those changes in revenue and those changes in expenditures, and I hope you can see that we did invest back into the educational product over the last year. Our ending balance, we projected for 2018 to be negative $381,000. Currently, we are projecting a positive or a in the black number of $65,000. So in spite of all of those things, we were able to extend our forecast 1 year beyond what we originally thought. And I will tell you that I think that is a tremendous feat, and it is just a testament of how we were trying to be very calculated in anything that we are pursuing moving forward. And I know there's lots of conversations about the impact group or other investments that we're doing, but please know that the things that we're doing is investing back into the educational product in the district while still staying true to this number. In fact, we're going to raise you 1 extra year. So I think that that really gives us credence to show you that we are making wise decisions in terms of the longitude of the district or the fortitude of the district. And I'm just using big words right now. I'm not quite sure what I'm saying. I'm just throwing them out there because they sound great. Thank you. Thank you very much. The administrative team supports me because I'm their boss. Now, we will move on. And we'll move on to transportation summaries. So transportation has been a hot topic for us. We have 21 buses in the fleet. We have 2 vans right now. And currently we are running 19 routes. And we have lots of conversation about how many routes we should be running, what is the length of the route. Do we have enough drivers to serve all of the routes? I will tell you that we talk about transportation an awful lot because it's something that we are working on. Each day we travel 753 miles. I think the district is 50 square miles, if I remember correctly, 25 apiece. So we've got 753 miles a day, 274,982 miles per year. So when we talk about going from one route or 1 run a day to 2 runs a day, you have to think about the amount of miles we're already traveling now and the idea of doubling that and how much money that would end up on the big picture. So somewhere, if we go to 2 runs somewhere, there's an extra $80,000 just on wear and tear of the buses because you take that number and double it. So these are big picture things that we try to think about to make sure we're making the best decision for the district in terms of fiscal responsibility and services that we're able to provide to the community. Moving on. Food service, we are serving 500 lunches a day on average, and about 100 breakfasts. We've been really campaigning for breakfasts, and I will tell you those numbers are climbing. Barb Rock has done an outstanding job, in my opinion, to try to really get at what is most attractive to the students and what will appeal to them. Coffee at the high school is a great thing that we've just started to try to get kids into the high school cafeteria, eating breakfast, because we know that how important that nourishment is. And I will tell you, if you go back to the free and reduced numbers of 37% of our population, making sure that our young people are adequately fed so they can come to school and actually learn is extremely important to the success of our district. Prices, breakfast, lunch, and for high school, middle school, and elementary. And now let's talk about the report card a little bit. What we've done here is we've put last year's 2012, 2013 and compared it with this year's 2013, 2014. You will notice that there are some changes or fluctuations, things that we were concerned about, things that we were really proud about. I will tell you that for performance index, we stayed at a B, but we actually increased 81.6% to 82.5. Indicators met, so those are grades 3 through 8. Math, reading, and then science is 5th and 8th are the things that are measured under those indicators. We went from a B to a C, so we had a little decrease there, and I will tell you that when you see our district goals, those district goals that the district leadership team created were based on a lot of this data, what we needed to focus on to continue to improve. This is something we were so proud about. Our annual measurable objectives for gap closing went from a D to a B over the course of a year. And that's something that we should be extremely proud of to acknowledge the performance of our students. K-3 literacy is coming soon to a school near you. Value added for progress. The things that I want to hone in on this is students with disabilities went from, they remained at a C. No, they did not. I lied, they changed columns. That's what I thought. Students with disability went from a C to a B. The lowest 20% achievement went from a D to a C. So we're showing improvements. And that's what I'm looking for. We're not looking for, everybody wants to be straight A's, and that would be great, pie in the sky. Of course, we want to provide excellence, but what we want is we want to show marked improvement, baby steps, because that's really what's going to institute change that is going to stay with the district for years to come. Something I was frustrated, just to be, we're going to talk about the good. You'll notice that our graduation rate went from a B to a C. Mr. Corey and I had some conversations about that were not so pretty. But look, it was an 89.1% to an 88.9. So really there's no statistical difference between those numbers, but we still dropped a grade level. Sometimes I don't think this system is set up to show how great we are.
But don't we also on that, correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't that also count for kids that come and leave and might be going somewhere else? We don't, we're not the ones graduating them. That is not saying we don't graduate all of our kids.
It accounts
that
for
is saying something different,
Mr.
correct?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it does account for students who are transient, who are moving from one district to the other that may be a senior. And then it also accounts for any student who does not graduate in that 4-year time frame. Right. And when we're talking about a graduating class of, 92 to 100, every student, so if you have one student leave and go from another district, that hurts us. Mm-hmm. You have one student who fails a senior English and doesn't graduate until the summer, that hurts us. There's lots of little idiosyncrasies that impact that number. And what's painful to me is that really there's no difference in performance, 89.1 to 88.9, but it still dropped us a grade level. And what people hone in on is that C instead of the B. And they say, what went wrong? Well, nothing went wrong. We just were marked by a different grade.
Were you saying that if a student starts here as a freshman, and let's say their junior year they move to Southeast?
Depends on when they move. So
they may count, that may count against us if they don't graduate from
I think it's a senior who is leaving.
If a student withdraws from our district and is enrolled in another school district, that doesn't hurt our graduation rate. But sometimes what happens is you have a student that will either transfer to us or perhaps us, they're with us for a month and they drop out again, that does hurt us. So there are situations that will hurt us. The only situation that it doesn't is if they withdraw us to another school district, then we're not penalized by graduation. But there are other factors at play. Each student is well over a percentage point. So.
But if they, let's say they go here their freshman and sophomore year, they withdraw and they go to another district for their junior year. They come back their senior year and they do not graduate. That hurts us. So it's not that they've gone to school at Waterloo for 4 years. It's that they've been at school during their 4 years of high school and didn't graduate or dropped out or.
Additionally, if the student is in special education, that student is entitled to special education services through the age of 22.
20, yeah.
If they take advantage of their right to an education to the age of 22, that counts against us on graduation.
Because those students, let's say there's 5 students that go all the way up till 22 and never graduate. That counts against us.
Even if they're special education.
If they're special ed, yeah, right.
Okay, I want to talk about ACT, SAT scores, so we're talking about accomplishments now. And remember, we're looking for improvement. So up at the top, you will see the graduation years for the last 5 years. We have the highest ACT score that we've had in the recent past. So we're seeing improvement with ACT scores throughout the course from year to year. The red column is our district. The orange or yellow or what's the word I'm looking for? Goldenrod, how about that? Or mustard is the state average, so you can see how we're competing with other districts. I know you love me, I can't help it. So you can take a look at those. I will tell you that throughout the last 2 years we were awarded the Marks Grants, and I put that up there because Marks Grants we were awarded last school year, but they were installed this year. So those are in the Marks radios are in each of the buildings right now in the offices. The archery grant is something that was approved this school year and is up. It will be up and running. We're hoping Mrs. Sandel's going to talk about that in her update, so I don't want to steal her thunder or pretend that I know what I'm talking about. Then sustainability project, that's an ongoing thing that we continue to work on and we're very proud of. So some highlights from each building. Look at this lady right here. Look at her. She's a superstar. She's my superstar. She always will be. Here's some different highlights. I have something to say, but I'm going to behave myself. I'll tell you later. So here's some things that happened in the elementary that we're excited about. That we had the Wizards game this year. High Flyers. I think there's a High Flyers performance tomorrow, actually, that I'm hoping to come to. 100th day, I will tell you that my daughter was extremely excited about 100th day. She couldn't count to 100, but she claimed that she could. But she was so excited about 100th day. Halloween, the teachers are wonderful, good sports, and are participating in that. And you can see our very own Mrs. Green there pointing the wand at me. Spirit Week and Fire Safety Day are all different things that we have featured in the elementary. And what we did was we just put a hodgepodge of things together from each building that maybe could kind of give you a showcase of what we're doing. The middle school, the canned food drive was a big hit this year. They certainly helped out the area food shelves and giving back to that community is something that's so important to us. Girls volleyball, the spelling bee, this is the Cavs ticket winners, I think. I'm sorry, it's cut off. And High Flyers is also in the middle school, so they are featured, and they do some things that I know that I will never be able to do with the jump rope. This is our Washington, D.C. trip, and I'm sure Mrs. Sandel will talk about that as well, so I will keep my mouth shut. Next slide for the high school. Our academics challenge team was featured, and there's a handsome fella in the back that is right there on the screen. Beta Club inductees, NHS inductees, and I don't know what's going on right here. The man has issues, folks. The man has issues. And yeah, it's much bigger than this. Veterans Day, we had a great turnout this year for Veterans Day. Winter band concert, winter choir concert. This is just some things that are showing what's happening, and I'm sorry, I apologize for that disturbing picture. We'll move away from that slide as quickly as possible. So the district goals, I'm going to kind of go through quickly, but I just want to give you an idea that the district leadership team is charged with creating a wide, overreaching direction for the district, and we spent an awful lot of time on this throughout the year. creating these goals, evaluating these goals, creating action plans, and it's more time than you probably can imagine, giving us, figuring out, analyzing data. Where do we need to improve? Where do we need to continue to grow? So here are some things that we're focusing on. You will notice that we've got some things for the instructional text because we thought that that was an area of concern based on the report card. There are, we want to have, in addition to instructional text, we want to look at writing processes that are being taught throughout the K-12 arena and how we could create uniform processes that maybe are building on each other. So the student that is learning writing processes in 3rd grade has similar terminology in 4th grade and 5th grade, so things are sequential in building. That's one of the things that we are focusing on. We want to focus on critical thinking and how we can teach critical thinking to our students. So that was one of the goals, that we developed PD, or professional development, around those critical thinking strategies and what instructional practices best provide the opportunity to hone in on critical thinking. So we're doing assessments of what we're doing that's working and sharing that out among our peers. The 3rd goal is the climate and culture. So we've been spending some time on positive behavior intervention system, or PBIS. And that is something that we've been spending some time on, sending a team to evaluate how we can better serve our students through the use of PBIS. We also have been spending a lot of time on staff culture and climate, and how we can improve our own climate within the buildings. So we did a staff and culture climate video. I could dance to make it more entertaining, but I don't know if that's how disturbing that would be. So we're focusing on that, how we work together, how we serve each other, to make this the best place to be for students and adults. And I think that we've really come up with some really good ideas, and I think that we're moving in the right direction. I'm really excited about that goal, to tell the truth. Academics, you've heard me talk that we are no longer on the Ohio Improvement Plan, which is a big deal. It lets us have some autonomy in what we want to do on that district leadership team. And it makes sure that we, our scores are improving to such a state that the state no longer needs to oversee that progress. And that's a big deal for us. You know that we're using Common Core standards in English Language Arts and Math, grades K through 12. That has been a transition. We have been working through that, and I will tell you, it is a work in progress. And there's big changes in terms of how we're teaching students. So I will tell you that, English Language Arts, you heard me talk about instructional text as that being a focus for our goals. That's one of the things that we're really looking at, how those math concepts can apply to real world situations, and how we can use those critical thinking skills. So you'll notice that Common Core and our district goals are aligning because we want to focus on that as a district. The park assessments, I just went by them, I'm sorry. Park assessments were certainly a hot topic, and we transitioned to that online environment, and the teachers have just done an outstanding job helping us through that. And I would tell you that the students have been real troopers as well, trying to work through that, and I think that it was a daunting task, to tell you the truth. And I couldn't be prouder of how our district has rose to the challenge to make that transition. You heard me last month talk about agreements with different colleges. I think last month we talked about an agreement with Kent State and Stark State. Tonight on the agenda is an agreement with YSU, Youngstown. And this is for a new College Credit Plus program that is taking the replacement of dual credit and post-secondary credit offerings. So this is an opportunity for students 7 through 12 to earn college credit, and hopefully enable them to be better prepared and in a more advanced state for their college career. We still have the Viking Digital Academy up and running, so that's an online environment that we can offer students. You learned a little bit earlier about Jason and everything that it is offering to the students of Waterloo and that Argonaut program that we're so excited about. Academics, in terms of dual credit courses, this year we're offering dual credit for calculus, computer app, French for understanding music, chemistry, and physics. Those are our dual credit courses for the 2014-2015 school year. I'm picking up because I'm seeing you guys get restless, so I'm moving a little faster. communications initiatives that we are using as a district. You'll see Facebook, you'll see Twitter. The Lions Club we've partnered with for a lot of projects this school year that I'm excited about. Kent State University, Mrs. Sandell has done an amazing job bringing student teachers in and making Waterloo Local Schools a hub for student teachers and hopefully offering or increasing the supports we're offering our students. Alert Now, Ustream, you know, you're going to be able to watch this later. Partnerships with the fire department have been huge in terms of emergency radios and safety, and I think that those relationships are great. PTO had a turnover this year, and we have new leadership, and I think they're doing a great job. We just had our fun run this week, and I won't talk about that. We're just going to talk about that. Sorry, you can see the vast list of things that they have worked on this year on the left, and I will tell you that these ladies are doing an outstanding job making sure that our students are getting great opportunities. I will tell you that I had something happen this week in Palmer, I'm just going to talk about it, I'm sorry. So Jacqueline, my 5-year-old, ran in the kindergarten fun run, and all week, 2 weeks before, she's been telling me, Daddy, the fun run is fun. That's why it's called a fun run. And there are no winners and there are no losers in the fun run. And she's excited about me running with her because it is fun. Well, in my infinite wisdom as a father, I told her there are always winners and losers in life. And don't you forget that. And I was joking, I really was. And Mr. Knapp couldn't figure out why about 10 minutes into the 25, Jacqueline's face is beet red, breaking out in hives, and she's sitting up crying. And she was afraid because she's trying to beat me. She's running so hard. And Mr. Knapp goes, Matt, what is going on? Jacqueline is the best pacer I have. So when they say pace yourself, Jacqueline was the best pacer. What happened? And I said, well, I may have given her a speech about winners and losers. And it didn't go so well. So I had to apologize profusely to my 5-year-old.
Do they still get a prize if they don't walk?
Yes.
Oh, you screwed up big time. Yeah, you screwed up. You better take her to ice cream lots.
Well, I apologize. And I told her,
Yeah.
you taught me something.
It's too, yeah.
You taught me something about there. Sometimes it is just a run that is fun.
Mm-hmm.
So that happened this week. Mr. Fines for your own. You win some, you lose some. This father thing is not.
It's not as easy as it's
No. Some days it's good, some days not so much. I felt really badly actually. But she, what a champ. I've never seen her run so. She ran so fast. But her face was so, I thought she was going to pass out. Father of the year, right? Leading you as a district. The athletic boosters and the music boosters are instrumental in helping us support the district, and we are very proud of those relationships that we have. And I do not think that we would be as successful without them. Moving forward, some new graduation requirements are on the horizon with this year's freshman class. And once they, there's end of year, there's different things. So we have the end of year assessments. There's 7 of them. In Algebra 1, I'm reading now, I'm sorry, Physical Science, American History, and American Government, English 1 and English 2. And additionally, and this went home with everyone, additionally, you have to complete one of the following 3 items. So you have to earn a passing score of 18 on those 7 end-of-course exams, or you have to earn a remediation-free score on the ACT or SAT, and I don't think we know what that score is yet. Do we?
Yes, we just don't know what the test is.
Okay, of course, that's right. Mr. Coy, thank you so much. So we don't know if it's going to be the ACT or the SAT or something else, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and I'm sure they're looking for ways to make financial gain on this.
What's the score?
This is not group participation right now. What's going on here? Mr. Coy would love to answer that.
On the ACT, the remediation free score is 18 in reading, 21 in, yes, 21 in English language arts, and a 22 in math. I don't know off the top of my head the SAT.
This is for, not them.
This is for current freshmen.
It's for freshmen.
Thank you, Mr. Coy. Technology, we still have our bring your own device policies, school-wide Wi-Fi, Google Apps, Progress Book. We went from Gradebook to Progress Book. IEP Anywhere, we have the Interact Pads, YouTube channel, smartboards, and we transitioned to common printing this year, which really saved us some money because we moved from every teacher having their own printer to some common printing zones. and I thought that was a good investment. Safety, we talked about Mark's radios, second years of random drug testing, weather radios in all buildings. That was one of those relationships with fire departments I talked about. We uploaded those safety plans to the ODE as required. We have the cameras on campus, and the Portage County Sheriff's Department is able to watch Waterloo TV whenever they need to. They can have a live stream of what's happening at the district at all times. Tonight we're going to be talking about Navigate and TransFinder. Those are two things I think are going to up our game in terms of safety. And don't forget, this year we've implemented those cameras on the buses, which has been huge in minimizing different discipline things that may have occurred and increasing that safety of what's happening on the buses. The big thing that's on the horizon is the Stadium Improvement Project. And I will tell you that I've been so excited to share these designs with people and see the excitement in the students' eyes and the community for that matter as what this would bring to the community and the opportunities that it would yield. So we are thrilled that this is on target for being on the ballot later this year. We are very much looking for people to be involved in the process. And we, if you know of anybody or you're that person, we would love to have you involved. Because after all, this is a community project, so it has to have community support.
We would love student support too, and a group of students. That would be huge too.
I would agree. You will notice that on this side of the building, right over here, you will notice the Waterloo sign that is being constructed. And remember that this is from the Atwater building, and this is from the Randolph building. And we have put them together with bricks from each school building, showing symbolically the combination of Randolph and Atwater communities. I will tell you what's happening with this project still. We are having engravers coming out and re-etch the Atwater sign so you can read it from the, for when you're driving up, because it's weathered over the years. And then Ms. Rutledge and myself were just talking about the Waterloo sign, the granite Waterloo sign that will sit atop this structure, and that will be done in approximately 120 to 180 days. I was a little I'm serious. I was frustrated with that earlier, but it says 120 to 180 days due to the size of the granite. It's such a large structure.
When is the Atwater going to be highlighted so we can see it better?
Mr. Munger is working on that, and it should be done before the end of the school year. So what we will have is this re-etched so people can see, and we will have a gray granite brick, not a brick.
It's granite. It's like it's called steel gray.
And
it's very pretty.
And it will sit right on top, and it'll say Waterloo, and that'll finish the project. And I think that that's something that we can really be proud of and really feature the history that this district has, and showing that the two communities coming together. Tonight on the agenda, we have 1 new bus and 2 new vans for next school year that we are putting out for bid, and that's to continue to maintain the fleet that we have transporting our students. And we do that incrementally to try to offset those costs so it's not a huge burden. I will tell you that our buses are in very good shape, and that's thanks to Mr. Brooks and Mr. Hudkins. So these small changes and the hard work that they do ensure the safety of all of the students. I moved faster at the end because I saw you getting restless. Do you have any questions for me now? Is this the participation point? Okay. I'm okay if you don't have any. I will sign your things and you're free if you want to do that. All right, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
They have to get agendas.
Come on.
What you have to do, they have to sit here for a board meeting?
Well, technically, they didn't last for the whole board meeting.
Well,
We're
they
just
have
getting
to say
through
90
business.
minutes. So
Oh, okay.
they're right on schedule.
And then they also have to interview someone in the community. They have to they have to write a paper on this and explain what happened. What's that? Yeah, but the first group was awards. Girls, did you enjoy it? Mr. Huth would like to know if you enjoyed it.
Oh, lots. Thank you all.
They're all very good actresses.
Okay.
They're all in drama.
Yeah.
Except she's taller.
I was, you know, getting a whiff of what you were drinking over there.
Didn't bother me.
I tried to catch the words to make sure they were actually real words.
Don't worry, the three of them back there were monitoring anything I said so they can make fun of it later.
All right. Well, thank you, Matt. That was very insightful. It just goes to show what a tremendous amount of participation it takes to run a school district, whether it's from the community, it's from our administration, it's from our certified staff. You know, it's amazing to me the amount of work that goes into and coordination that goes into making the district what it is. And I'm very proud to be a part of the district and be impactful on the students' lives and their opportunities. So I think it's an exciting adventure, and I appreciate all the effort that you guys put into it.
Question.
Yep.
All of the meetings I've been to, was that a new presentation that you did there?
Every presentation is a presentation.
But is it,
We've,
that's one of the better ones I've seen.
yeah,
How about
it's,
the one that was pretty,
it was a good presentation. We've had them every year, but
What
they're,
was like the president's speech,
PowerPoint?
like this will go in everybody's house. Everything shut off and they have to listen to it.
Okay.
I liked it better.
pretty impressive. They'll take it to the next school system.
oh, Rick. Okay. Let's move on to the treasurer's report.
Just for tonight, we do have an addendum, and we need to add to the consent agenda under superintendent's business items K through O.
Okay. And for our principals updates, Mr. Corey?
Thanks. I'm going to try and keep it brief because my illustrious leader waxed so eloquent. There's something that I'm just going to start off with. If you could just take one and pass it down. One of the things that is coming up, we have prom, and one of the things that I've just been observing with our formal dances is just, I think it's a good time for our students to come and have, dress up and just enjoy themselves, but do so in a responsible manner. So this is something that I've drafted to have all students sign. It's expectations, just to make sure we are clear. And one additional thing you'll find on here, and I really want your opinion as to what you think. The items that I've highlighted are the items that may be newer or new altogether. And I just want to draw your attention to, for example, under men's suggested apparel.
Mr. Coordinator,
Yes.
for just a moment. My recommendation is, because this is the first time you're seeing this, to hear Mr. Corey's explanation, take it home, sit on it a little bit, and then we'll reach out to you on an individual basis and get some feedback.
Yes, yeah, I just wanted to give you an introduction so you can think about what I'm suggesting. For example, having the young men wear button dress shirts through the entire evening. Sometimes there's a tendency for that shirt to come off and have shirts that are less appropriate come on as the dance progresses. Additionally, if you notice item number 8, and I know this is a little awkward to talk about, but I just wanted to say it out loud because it happens at the dances, and I want to make sure that our students have a respectable time yet can still enjoy themselves. Notice item number 8, sexually explicit dancing, also known as grinding or twerking or whatever the new phrase happens to be.
So you just not through them and keep saying that.
Yes, because it makes everyone
Yeah.
feel comfortable. Just about
Demonstration.
Should illustrate it.
double no. think that students shouldn't be engaging in that type of behavior, especially in a school environment. And I also think students who don't normally do those sorts of things, I don't think that they should necessarily be exposed to that while they're at a formal dance and enjoying themselves. There are lots of other ways to dance and have fun, and it doesn't have to include that type of dancing. The other highlighted items are kind of reinforce those two main things that I mentioned. So this would be a form that students would sign in order to purchase a ticket so that we are clear on what the expectations are. So I would like your opinion. Take some time to digest that and let me know what you think.
And once again, we will be reaching out to you to get your individual opinion because I know it's going to be a polarizing topic, and we'll revisit this. But I will tell you that Mr. Corey and I think are on the same page with this, that some kind of parameters need to be set, some type of guidelines. We'll really focus in on what you guys are comfortable with, so we can find that happy medium. We in no way want to limit the amount of fun that the students are having or a favorable experience they're having. We want to just make sure that we're doing it with a certain level of decor.
Okay. One of the things I think on here is great is somewhere I've lost it, but basically it says if you have a question, call us and ask us, and we'll let you know. I mean, that's given everybody the opportunity to.
And nothing that ever happens, in this school is ever a gotcha thing. It's all about communicating expectations and upholding students those expectations. So I'm always happy to have a conversation to explain my rationale, to have dialogue about those things. So it's never about getting somebody. It's always just about making sure that students, keep first things first.
Are we still doing the no something under 21?
Yes.
None under 21?
Mm-hmm.
We're still doing that?
Yeah, that's coming up in the.
Oh, okay.
Yep,
Sorry. I thought we were on prom, so I thought.
Well, I'll just jump right there. So None for Under 21 is a senior trip that's taking place on April 21st. And so all of our seniors are going to that. They're finishing up their banner now for that, which is great. Of course, we have prom, which is going to be on May 2nd, so at the end of the month. That'll be taking place. We have our Fine Arts Festival, which is coming up next month, Academic Awards. So this time of year goes by very quickly. There's a lot of events that take place, so those are some exciting things to look forward to. I just wanted to mention, and I'm not going to take any Mrs. Sandel's thunder, but high school archery starts next week. But she'll talk about that. And now she's going to beat me up afterwards. Testing, OGT testing is now complete. That is the last round of official OGT testing. Students who don't pass will still have to pass OGTs in order to graduate, but that's the last school-wide OGT for right now. That went very well, very smooth. Park and air testing start up at the middle of this month. April 20th is when that testing kicks up again and won't complete until the middle of May. This round will have fewer sessions involved than the first round. The first round was even more burdensome than the second round of testing. That's coming up April 20th. We have an ACT practice test that we are going to be administering to our sophomores. The last thing I want to do is give more tests, but I want to give this in context that our current sophomores have not been under all this testing that's been going on. So I want to give them an ACT practice test that's going to happen under actual test conditions, so that way we can give them some meaningful feedback and we can give that data to our teachers, and so they can better equip those students to, when they go to take the ACT for real in their junior or senior years, they have some practice doing that, our teachers have some meaningful data, and so that's coming up the first week of May. So that's something to be looking for. We've had just some really great athletic things that have been going on in the high school. We had Bob Watson, who was the player of the year. We had Will Bolance and Patrick Jordan, who placed at state 6th and 7th. Will, and I talked about that, they were actually competing during our last board meeting. Will placed at Nationals and was named All-American, and he placed 4th at Nationals, which is just phenomenal. Of course, we had Colin and Will and Patrick, they placed as well with some great awards. And Mr. McKinnon informed me this afternoon that we were named by, we were awarded the Greater Akron Touchdown Club Award for Sportsmanship for this year. And that's a tremendous honor. That's voted on by referees, that's voted on by ADs. just for our level of class that we exhibit on the field of play, whether that's the basketball court, the football field, the soccer field, or what have you. And that's something that I'm very, very proud of. That's something that we can tout as being something that's really great about Waterloo.
I think that's the second year in a row.
It is.
The second time this year. Then we get the fall award, and now we're also getting the winter award. I think this was twice.
I don't want to speak without being sure.
I know we got it last year. That's all I know.
How many districts get that?
I think there's one.
I think there's just one.
Is that?
We sent press releases to the Record Courier on both of those topics, Will and his achievements, and we also talked about the Sportsmanship Award and there's one other one. Forgive me, but there's one more that have not been, and Bobby Watson. Thank you. And those have not been in the paper yet, but they've been doing a very good job. We've been sending press releases on a regular basis to try to make sure those students are getting recognized, not only at the district level,
but locally. Last two things we had, last fall we had, and Tori was involved in this actually, the honors choir where some of our students in the choir had an opportunity to go to Kent State and participate in some extra choir instruction and choir performance, which is really a great opportunity for them. We recently had the Kent State choir come here and perform with middle school students, elementary students, high school students. Our high school students had an opportunity to go up and actually sing with the honors choir from Kent State, which is a tremendous opportunity. And something here I'll pass around. We actually, I think there's 7 of us. Is there 7 students on there? I can't remember who made it to the postcard. I think there are 7 of our students actually made it to their publication, which will be advertising the honors choir for next fall. So that's something that's really just great to showcase the talent that we have here, and just a really awesome opportunity for our students. And finally, just something that I had an opportunity to go to over the past couple days along with one of our high school teachers, a great conference on grading practices. So I talked a little bit about grading practices last meeting. I'm not going to do that again. I'm just going to mention that the conference I went to really just had and Mrs. Sandell can attest to this, just a tremendous amount of great information that I really think is going to go a long way to transform how we approach grading and assessment and differentiated instruction and all those great things that just increase student achievement. But that's it. Yes, ma'am.
Are we also doing the breathalyzer for?
Yes, we will.
Okay.
And a letter will go home as well as an alert now, just making students and parents aware of that.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks. All right, Miss Corey, or Miss Corey, Miss Sandell.
No offense.
I was sending you home to Mrs. Corey. Matt will sign your list. You can leave.
Wow, now I'm rattled.
I'm sorry.
That's okay, Mr. Fletcher. As Mr. Montgomery and Mr. Corey alluded to, our archery program should be starting next Monday, which is fabulous. I know it's taking quite a bit of time, but it really does take a long time to start something from zero and build it to the point of implementation. So we're finally there. We're going to start with our high school students. There's some rationale behind that. We're hoping that they probably are a little bit more responsible with the whole bow and arrow idea. There's been quite a few comments about that, but we'll get them started. Mark Bauer from Kames is going to be here tomorrow to kind of give our teachers a little refresher, because we went to that training back in October. So it's been a little bit of time since we were actually trained on how to do it. So he'll be here to help us tomorrow. Kames has also supplied string bows, which are practice bows. So the kids will practice with a string first before they actually have to pick up the bows. So that's really nice. They created those for us, put those all together, and donated those to the district. So we're really close. Hopefully we'll get that up and running on Monday and start that rotation.
Go ahead, finish what you're saying.
I was just going to say, Mrs. Sandell's done a great job, not only writing and obtaining the grant, but then also developing that partnership with Kames to help take it to the next level with some of the things that were not included in the grant and offset some of that cost of the district. So I think it's a great example of outreach to different partnerships that we have and reaping the benefits of those types of relationships.
last month you mentioned a parent night. When is that gonna be?
We talked about whether we were going to do it as an introduction before we started, or wait until the students had some experience with it and have a showcase of what they're doing. We haven't set that date yet.
Okay.
Hopefully, we have to get it up and running and,
Right.
and get them
Okay.
going on it. I'm hoping maybe in May sometime.
Okay.
Because that'll give the high school rotation and maybe even get into the middle school rotation.
Okay, thanks.
As mentioned, we did visit DC, Washington DC, just recently. It was a fantastic trip. We had a great time. Our students were amazing. They exceeded our expectations as to their respectfulness and their behavior. I'll share a quick story and I'll share it quickly, but we went to Arlington Cemetery. Number one, that's quite a trip. If you've never made that trip up to the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, it's quite a feat. So we made it up to the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, and our tour guide, Main Street Tours, has done that for years. He was phenomenal. Dan, the tour guide. I'm sure you remember Dan. We got to the top, and he said, "We have to go over to the right side." And we were, because the kids just want to stand in the center because that's where you see the tomb and you watch the soldier go back and forth. And he said, no, we have to go over to the right side. We have to go over there. Okay, so we all went over and we were standing along the chains that were there. Well, along the right side is where the guard that's coming to change walks all the way down. And if you're standing in the center, you don't see all this activity that's going on to your right side. So it was really, our students were, just right there, watching this whole process take place. They did the whole change, and the guards are really good. They actually explain, because there's tons of school kids there at the time. And then after they did the change, they did a wreath ceremony, which I've been to DC a couple of times, watched that change of the guards, and have never seen a wreath ceremony. So they did this wreath ceremony. They hung this wreath. There was another soldier that came and played taps, which I can't even talk about it or recall it without tearing up, because it's an amazing experience. And we were standing there, and he started to play taps, and then there were 2 funerals going on below in the cemetery. So we heard cannons, which we found out later were for higher ranking people in the military, and then we heard, I'm shaking just talking about it. Then we heard the 21 gun salute. So it was just coincidental that it was all happening at the same time. Our students were standing, there was a student standing right next to me, and I won't out him, but he was standing there going, "What's going on? Oh my gosh, what's this all about? What's happening?" He was so like, this isn't supposed to happen. Like, nobody told us this was gonna happen. And we walked away after that all went down, and we walked over to see another site, and along came another funeral procession. So again, our students just stood there. They were just like in awe of what was taking place right in front of them. And I think it was so important for them to experience all of that. And I guess in saying that, it's so important, this Jason piece and things like DC, when our kids are out in the real world and experiencing those things firsthand, it's so much more than we could have ever presented from a textbook in a classroom. So it was just, and Dan was telling the kids what had happened right after we left, and he lost it. He broke down in tears, and our kids were they just didn't know how to react to the emotion of that whole situation. So it was just, it was fantastic, and I hope that we will continue to support those types of trips for our kids, because it was just amazing.
I think that if I'm not mistaken, we do our Dale Loudon Award every year, and I'm pretty sure he's buried in Arlington Cemetery.
Okay.
During graduation.
I was just recalling a student was looking for something, but that was on the Vietnam Wall. So I thought that was connected, but no, that was different. So there was actually, the Courier just ran an article today about our students in DC. So if you get a chance to take a look at that, or it's on our Facebook page as well. As Matt alluded, we are starting our interviews for the special ed director process. And that's just, I bring that to light because we really spend a lot of time. We do a first round with administrators, we do a second round with a panel of teachers and or secretaries and or anyone that wants to be involved in that process. So I think it's really important that we are gaining and getting input from other staff in that process. So that's just a FYI that that's starting soon. The partnership with the University of Akron, all of our student teachers are actually doing a presentation with some of their own students, the students that they're teaching and working with. They're doing a technology presentation that's on the calendar for April 23rd, so look for some information with that coming out soon. And I just wanted to reiterate what Mr. Corey said about our conference the last 2 days. It was really great stuff from Rick Wormley, who's a national speaker. He really, we took 2 teachers with us as well, and I think they sat there and just gained so much knowledge from that presentation and from the information that he shared with us. So again, it's important that our teachers have those experiences, and I thank you for letting us do that. I think that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Sandell. Mr. Streeter.
I'm going to start with a BLT update. I know I talked about this a little last time. Yesterday and today we had teachers observing other teachers. I think Mrs. Green, you had a busy day, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Yesterday and today.
Okay. So we've had several teachers. I talked about this last time, so I won't go into it at great length, but I heard a lot of positives. Teachers were saying that they picked up a lot of positive things from teachers like Mrs. Green. A lot of teachers took advantage of it that, like I think Mrs. Green had a 3rd grade language arts teacher, so it gives them perspective as to what their students will be facing in the coming years, so they can take that back to their classroom and kind of adjust the curriculum accordingly. So I think it's a really cool opportunity, and everyone seemed very, very happy with it. I want to move on to the kindergarten. I'm going to pass some of these out just so you guys can take a look at them. But those, what Mr. Carpenter's passing out, that's a brochure and a postcard that the impact group actually did for us. Beth Rutledge did a lot of work alongside Abby from the impact group to create those. As you may know, our kindergarten class is a little low this year. This is just a way to try and boost enrollment for our district. Beth sent this out to a couple different daycares. She sent it out to some realtors in the area as well. And I took some to our preschool program within the district. Not all those students are guaranteed to stay at Waterloo. Some of those students are from a different district, so it's an opportunity for us to kind of show what we have to offer here at Waterloo. So I thought they were a really, really cool way to kind of show what our kindergarten class does. They also went to the Head Start that's housing our building. Speaking on the topic of kindergarten, Sarshone, Matt has a good relationship with Alex Sarshone from the dealership here in Randolph. They're going to pay for a field trip to the zoo for us. They're getting the tickets. They're paying for the tickets as well as T-shirts for all the students, so we can keep track of the little people better at the zoo. That's going to happen in the beginning of May, and our kids are really excited about that. So that's something cool.
And Alex is, we talked last Friday. Alex was at the zoo working on gift bags for each student. So she was purchasing stuff on behalf of Sarshone to give each student not only a T-shirt but a gift bag, and then you have the ticket prices on top of that. So she did that for West Branch schools, and she's also doing that for us. And just so you know, Alex just called me up and says I have an idea. Is usually what happens. And she called with this one. I think it's certainly benefiting our students, benefiting my daughter.
This is Akron Zoo?
Akron.
And it's kindergarten?
Yep. This is actually something we had already had in place.
I would say, don't we do that anyway?
We haven't in a couple years, I think. I don't think we've had a field.
And KPO usually buys the t-shirts? Oh, to the, no, it's our blossom.
Both my kids are chefs.
This was something we wanted to do after all the fundraising the students had done. That goes into our principals fund, so we wanted to do some type of field trip, and Alex stepped in, said she would pay for all the tickets and
Yeah, we already had it planned, and then
Yeah.
Alex called and said, I'll cover it.
So yeah, really can't say enough about how much they do for the school. It's really impressive. PBIS update, Matt talked a little bit about that during his presentation. We finished up our 4th and final session this past Tuesday. So we took away several things from the training. We're not going to implement it as much as some of the other districts that were there, because some of those districts have behavior issues within their school that we really don't have here. So we're going to do a couple things that some are actually already in place. Mrs. Green and some of the 5th grade teachers do Viking bucks. It's an incentive, like a little monetary. Plain money. But yeah, a little.
When we see good behavior.
Exactly. So sort of a mini economy. It's an economics lesson along with some incentives in class. So we're going to try and push.
When we sometimes don't see such good behavior. That hurts more than anything.
Giving up that money.
My child still has some of those bucks that I had to put in his scrapbook because there's teachers' pictures on them.
Yeah, we've had a very positive response from the students, so we're going to try and do that building-wide in elementary.
Mrs. Green is like a $500 bill.
Yeah.
I'm like a nickel. I don't even think I have something.
I'm pretty sure Mr. Hamilton was the easiest one to get, I think.
So that's just one of the things. We're going to try and have some incentives within the building. We want to look at traffic patterns. Because we share a cafeteria with the middle school, we do have a lot of students in the cafeteria. So we're looking at some traffic patterns that were discussed by other districts that really alleviated some issues with, middle school students and elementary students crossing paths. And then also, I ran statistics for discipline for the last couple of months, just office traffic, who was coming to the office and where they were coming from. And we had some pretty staggering numbers from recess. So that's a place we're going to really focus on some positive behavior. So that'll be rolling out at the end of this year and the beginning of next year. Just a couple more things that were fun this week for our students. Matt talked about the fun run. Our students and parents had a blast with that. We had several parent volunteers that were here the whole day. We were keeping track of how many laps the students did. So that was really nice to see the parents in. We also had a limo ride to Pizza Hut, which I got to be a part of. It was nice. Mrs. Biddle and Mrs. Lewis were on that trip, and this being Miss Biddle's last year, she sent me an email the other day about how that was a nice thing to do with her students in her last year before retirement, and the kids had a great time with that. That was for the top 4 students from the fundraiser that we had in the spring. So that was their reward, was the limo ride to Pizza Hut, which they all thought was pretty cool. Also, we're partnering with Town Hall. You guys may have seen them out in the high school cafeteria as we were getting started. That's just a parent group. Parents and their children can do crafts and get together and kind of like a resource for one another. They also had a meal out there, so that's a nice thing for our parents and families. I was talking with them a little bit just about some PTO events that we have coming up, just so that they have access to those opportunities. April's a busy month for us. We have a father-daughter dance. Matt's going to be a busy man on that evening. And a mother-son event at the end of the month. Plus we have our book fair and art auction all in the month of April.
When is that? The book fair and
The book fair is April 27th through April 30th. The art auction is on the last day of the book fair. That's going to be April 30th. And Mrs. Ritchie's also going to have an ice cream social.
they still, that's what I was gonna ask, are they still on
Yeah.
ice?
I think I'm actually going to be emceeing that auction, that art auction.
There we have.
Don't let him get to you, Anthony. You just do your thing.
Gosh, is it beautiful.
The kids were falling asleep when he was talking tonight. You know, really? Seriously.
I think I saw a couple of adults that was off.
Exactly.
I kept elbow on Todd.
Yes, the Cleveland Gladiators. So that's an indoor football on April 24th.
It's not hockey school.
Yeah. Indoor football. Do you guys have any questions?
Just one quick question. Is there an award ceremony for the fun run?
There isn't for the fun run. We do have an award ceremony. We're trying to nail down the date. It's for all academic awards. We don't have an award, I don't believe, for the fun.
I think they just put their pictures up on the wall.
If they
Okay,
ran
we used to
time.
do, however, you know, it was a huge idea. It was a huge thing. It was huge.
But who's counting?
Huge,
But who's
huge.
counting?
Yeah.
Were you a winner or a loser with those 52 laps?
That's your definition.
And just a tip on discipline in the playground, I mean, my kids were always afraid of the wall at the old primary school.
The wall. Oh.
Nothing. Nothing. You didn't move, you didn't talk, you didn't look around, nothing happened at the wall.
Well, be nice to the kiddos. It's been, everybody's got spring fever, you know. I think if we get a nice day, let everybody go out. It might be the only one we get. Okay, thank you. Maplewood update?
Yeah, I'm going to focus on a featured program. During the school year, we get to go to a different lab every month. And this last month, we got to go to animal science, which is brand new. So the staff is in there, and the students are in there, and they participate in this whole thing. We're in there about 30 minutes. And it was really good because it was juniors this year, and they did a really good job of, it was very impressive and very knowledgeable, and we really got a lot of information, and they were real excited. So I think that's really taken off well. So that was exciting. We got to do that.
I'll
And
tell you that Mr. Griffith invited superintendents in the fall to go see different programs.
Mhm.
Each superintendent got a different program. He's doing it again in the spring, later in the month, and I just opened an email yesterday, and he gave me animal science, and I was
Did he?
excited.
Yeah.
Ethan Seabach, I think is the Waterloo student that is giving
Mhm.
me the tour for that thing. It's a similar thing to what you guys go through. I had a great time in the fall. Looking forward to it.
yeah, they just set up different stations with all the different animals, and we just had a few minutes at each one, and then they demonstrated, and I took a couple pictures of some of the animals. It was really cool, the bearded dragon, and it was really interesting. There's some really cool things in there. So those kids were real excited about that program. So that was really informative. And then the other thing I was going to talk about was the Nashville trip, but I haven't been back to the next meeting yet because that happened after this meeting and before. So I'll talk about that next month then. Okay? That's all I
Okay,
have.
thank you. Legislative update?
I do not have an update. I have some things I wanted to bring up, but I'm going to wait until next month until I have my facts straight on it.
They will change significantly by then.
Well, they
So-
haven't changed much, so, I just bore you with what I bored you last month.
Okay, very
They
good.
do have that cell, you've heard that, the cell of the top, no, it was, I'll wait.
All right.
Got it.
Very good, thank you. Okay, and we'll move on to new business. Matthew?
I have a couple things.
Okay.
Back on Sarchione's on May 9th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. We set up in this room. We have cars Sarchione sponsors. This year we're calling it Drive for your community instead, because they want the profits to go towards the community stadium project. They need adult and student volunteers. They need people to come drive. You have to be 18 to ride along with people or drive. Last year we had 205 drivers. They would love to get 300 this year. They give a bag of goodies from Ford to every person that comes and drives. It doesn't cost you anything. All it does is you take, 20 minutes of your time, basically. You come in, you sign up, you fill out a paper that says, you're responsible to drive, and then you go and we do a loop, and you take a test drive, and we get $20. What's that?
I had a great time last year. I almost had Mr. Corey buying the vehicle by the end of the experience.
Well, you'll have a chance again this year. Yes.
It was a great time.
But it is. It's really fun, and Anthony was new last year, so he got to meet a lot of people here, and it's one of those things that they do. But all we have to do is have people show up. It doesn't cost anything. So they put it for every driver we have. Ford donates that money, and it's going to go to the Stadium Improvement Project. So that is something we really need. We need a lot of people to help. And we had hot dogs and drinks and cookies last year, and they're going to do the same thing this year. I'm trying to think of what
was the date?
Date and time
May
again?
9th.
That's a Saturday, right?
It's a Saturday. It's from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And they keep you moving. I mean, we try and keep them running through. There's not a salesman here. They're not here to sell you a car. If you buy a car, that's their business. There was not any salesman here that day. So there's no pressure. If you're interested, you go talk to them. But there was not any pressure whatsoever, and it was fun. I was a rider, so I got to go in different cars, and I would never think that I would be a Ford person, but it was kind of fun. I thought they're not so bad. If I had to go to a Ford, I think I could handle that. So, but they also own Chevys too. So, but this one is for Ford. So it was just something that, and you don't have to live in the school district. You just have to be a licensed driver of 18 or older, and you can live anywhere. You don't have to live in this school district. You just have to, for instance, like myself and my husband could not drive, only one per household. So one of us has to pick, who wants to come up and drive the car. So, my daughter lives in Kent, so her driver's license has a Kent address on it, so she can drive separately. You have only one per address. So.
Lisa, could you clarify? You said 18 or older to drive or ride. Is that right? Or
Yeah, like if we have volunteers that are 18, they can ride along.
Okay, but I mean, if I show up with my 2 children, they can ride with me while I'm driving.
Oh, anybody can ride in the car with you. Yes.
That's what I just
Yes.
clarified.
I'm talking about volunteers. Yeah, volunteers to ride along, which we need.
To make sure you come back.
Yeah. And as you go through the day, you kind of learn about the vehicle, and you can kind of talk and.
It's a great opportunity to drive a vehicle that you would probably never drive.
Yeah,
I
there's
mean,
some
I
fun
was in a
ones, too.
truck last year that was just outrageous. I mean,
Everybody was in the truck.
It was, oh.
I'm surprised.
Everybody
that
should
they had-
aspire to something, and those vehicles are wonderful.
That was pretty cool. Everybody wanted to drive the truck. We put it at the very end, so they had to walk.
Yeah, we had to
really
walk.
far to get to it, but everybody wanted to drive the truck. I mean, it was nice. So it is. It's kind of fun to drive another vehicle that you would never drive. So.
Yeah.
So it was fun. So anyway, and so that's one thing. Secondly, this coming Monday, April 13th, from, hold on.
6 to 6:45.
6 to 6:50? 6 to 6:45. We want to let the community know that they can come, and students can come, and community members can come. We are having focus groups We're starting at 1:30 with our classified, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Classified is from at 1:30 for 45 minutes, and then
And
the administrators are after them, and then the certified is after them, and then the community can come from 6 to 6:45 and let the group that we have running the search for the superintendent, they are going to get everyone's advice on what you want in a superintendent. So if you want to have a word in what you're going to have, this is the time to show up and speak up. So let people know that this is.
It was in the Record Courier yesterday.
I think it's really important too to let people know that we will not be there. So
No.
it's not like you're gonna.
We have nothing.
It's the meeting is being facilitated by the people from the OSBA.
So it's a good way to, I mean, as board members, we have two main jobs. One's to hire a superintendent, one's to hire a treasurer that works well in the district. So this is a good way for everybody to give their information to the group, and then they're going to summarize all of that with us later that evening. So we're not going to be there. We're going to get, and they're going to tell us what you want. So to me, that's big. So, you know, this is the time. Whenever we say show up, this is the time to show up. So, because afterwards, you get what we pick. So, anyway, and then the third thing was, sorry, that's the way it is. Well, it is how it is. The third thing is the athletic boosters, which Matt mentioned earlier, did have their reverse raffle recently and raised over $9,000, which is great. They also just purchased football uniforms, which cost $12,000. So they also honored Bonnie Huth, Rick's wife, and Carolyn Kane, who have been in the boosters for pretty much the entire time that we've had the boosters, and for all their service. And they do a lot of behind-the-scenes things. So if you see either one of them, I know we all see Bonnie, you know, here at the school, and Carolyn's also around at the fair booth, which we all love. And so just thank them for what they did. And
For the record, I did pick Mrs. Huth as the grand prize winner, even though the top five split it up.
Yeah.
I picked Mrs. Huth as number one. Now, I let her know that I picked her as number one, and she was very angry with me. One, I let her know. Two, that I told her she would always be number one in my book. I got a lecture with her one day in middle school, but I stand by that she was very deserving of that award.
she is. She does not like attention or that outside appreciation. So
if she's
just
watching,
sort of.
I'm very proud of you.
We are.
Want to discuss that night?
So, yeah, but anyway, it was a lot of fun, and the boosters met Monday night, and they asked me to mention to our three principals and our superintendent. We had, that was the first time we've had all three principals and the superintendent at a reverse raffle in a long, long time. So, and I think you guys had fun, right? We told you you would.
I had a good time, but Mrs. Sandoval saved me a seat, so I have a little bit of.
Oh, you were fine. It's not like you didn't know anybody. Well, the new football coach drew my name, so I have him really nervous at the moment. So he was really nervous, but it was a lot of fun, and they do a lot of good things. So just wanted to give you an update on that.
Do you have any information on the golf outing coming
The
up?
golf outing is May 30th.
Before graduation.
They still need teams. That's the day before graduation. So we know you're all going to be in that weekend because you don't have to know how to golf.
Oh, that is one of the best.
But
I
if you
tell
practice,
it's great.
there is a hole-in-one. If you get a hole-in-one, you get a new car from Sarchion.
Yeah, and it's almost, we did really good on that this last year.
Yeah, it's not.
We almost got it, remember?
It's not impossible. So anyway, so I forget how much it is a team.
60.
It is also a
Or 60
Paradise Lake.
each, I think.
It's $60 a person, and then teams of 4, and
Includes.
it includes a steak dinner. It includes food at the turn. It includes 18 holes of golf, and then they have prizes, tons of prizes, and silent auction items again.
There's no such thing.
That sounds like we should
You
be
can
on
do
the
that.
team.
You can do that too. I'll find out how much.
You can just drive. The golf cart.
Okay, I'm gonna.
Yes, you can. And you can, and I'll find out how much it is for just a dinner without the golf. I'll check on that. But it is, it's a lot of fun. It's,
It's a wonderful outing. It's fun, it's casual. I think you've got so many people from, alumni from years past that consistently support the district and the boosters, and it's just a really good time. So it's not to be missed.
I only have one thing for new business. As we all know, we lost Nate Weimer, one of the freshmen. They're doing a benefit dinner April 24th from 5 to 8 here at the school in the elementary cafeteria. Nice to see the community come out and support that.
they need baskets.
They need baskets. They are setting up 3 to set up, clean up 3 to 10 p.m. I mean, that's the time frame that they need people, 3 to 10 p.m.
And the board office is also taking donations for the family.
Correct.
Is that
School is selling T-shirts and
bracelets?
T-shirts are 15 and bracelets are
April 24th?
Is that a
April
Friday,
24th. From 5 to 8 in the elementary middle school cafeteria.
I will tell you, it has been, Todd's story, interviewed me for, POD project. And she asked me a question, what is the most challenging part of the job? And that's what came to mind. It's been a hard couple of weeks for the community, and the community never ceases to amaze me in how they rally around when tragedies occur. And I will tell you that he was a wonderful young man, and so many people spoke at the services about how he was, a young man of kindness, and how he helped so many people and was a good role model. And that is the most difficult thing that I think anybody has to go through as a community. I've been so impressed by ours, but I will tell you that I think that it certainly impacted the community as well. And our thoughts continue to be with that family.
Anything? Okay. We'll move on to consent agenda. Matt?
Okay, here we go. Things that I want to draw your attention to. We had a couple updated board policies. You will notice that some of them are dealing with graduation and diploma requirements. You got this in the packet, but it talks about the social studies unit required for graduation must include 1/2 unit of instruction in the study of world history and civilization. So it amends our policy to reflect that. There's also a career advising component that the Board of Education will adopt a policy that talks about how we're advising our students in terms of careers. So that is on letter B. I will tell you, well, let me go back to A real quick, I'm sorry. A is showing that Mr. Klein is resigning from middle school study hall day. That's because he switched routes. So he took a route that has more hours than his previous one, so he decreased one of his other responsibilities. Moving on, you will notice that on letter E, that the high school boys soccer team is traveling to Strongsville over the month of July, and that trip was also in the packet. Coach Eigner was, he was very worried that you were going to be worried about this, and he offered to come tonight. I told him all the information's in the packet, and you guys would be okay. And this is standard protocol that we approve overnight stays. And I've been very pleased with, his efforts to continue to improve that program. Letter F is for Navigate. Some of you asked a question about it. Remember that when I sent out that email March 16th talking about Navigate, the idea of Navigate is taking our safety plan to the next level. This is a program, a software program, a cloud-based program that is supported by Ohio School Boards Association and BASA. And what it does is it takes our safety plan and puts it into a virtual environment and improves the safety plan and everything that's included within it. I think that it will certainly raise the level of safety we're able to provide to our students with evacuation plans and reunification plans, detailed maps of gas shutoff valves and cameras, and first responders will have 360-degree views of every room, so when they're planning a response in the state of emergency, they are more prepared and more educated to make the best decision possible when emergencies strike. I've talked to the Portage County Sheriff's Department. Crestwood also uses this, and they were thrilled that we were moving to this type of program. Because we're a campus-wide district, we only had to pay for one building. So I think the quote with the discount was approximately $3,300 to get this done. They spent a whole hour, excuse me, they spent a whole day here taking pictures of every room. This is something that I really think is necessary. Each teacher who has a smartphone will have an app that has their safety plan on it, so they're not worried about a binder. And 9 times out of 10, if you're in an emergency situation and you're not in the immediate threat, you're going to grab your cell phone. That's just the way we live right now. All that information will be on their cell phones that they need to be successful in that type of situation. And as we change the safety plan throughout the year, instead of collecting all those binders and making the paperwork changes, Beth or myself would make a change electronically, and it would get sent out to every teacher's laptop or mobile device or smart technology. So it really ups our game in terms of safety, and you know that that's paramount in a school district. So that's something I'm excited about. We're already working through that process. The second thing I want to talk about is letter G. Yes, sir.
Will we still be required to have hard copies of the safety plan and all that stuff in the room?
I don't know if it's required, but we will certainly continue that practice. Because what if the teacher does not have access to the smartphone? We could probably streamline that process to ask the teacher what their preference is. So if they don't have smart technology, would they still like the physical binder? But I think that that would streamline the process and make it much more cost effective because we wouldn't be doing it widespread. I don't think that it's a requirement that we have the binders. I think it's a requirement that we have the plan. They don't choose the medium in which you produce it.
And how do we handle subs?
How do we handle subs? Each substitute is given a packet of information. That's something that will have to be discussed, how we do that. Maybe the safety plan is included in that packet moving forward, because then, you give the student, or you give the keys to the teacher for the room and lesson plans, and you give them a copy of the safety plan as well. I will tell you that Erin Merla actually brought this to my attention, that she thought that maybe we could institute substitute training, maybe do a day in the start of the school year where we're training the subs that we're using in safety drills or including them in safety training. I thought that was a great idea, and that's something that we're looking to do moving forward because that's a concern of ours.
We're going to do the teacher orientation at level of substitutes. Anyone who would like to come for it.
And bring them in. So I think that it's something that wasn't really on my radar, but speaking from looking through her lens as a substitute teacher, I thought it was very good input that we're going to utilize moving forward.
Do you want questions now or during the question and answer
We can do it right now.
later? Okay. Is this Navigate, I know it's new, but is it replacing an old program, or because the agenda says it's to comply with Ohio's new safety plan? So what we were doing already, the state is changing those requirements, or why are we, did we have this before, or?
No, we did. So that's a good question.
So we haven't had any safety plan, or?
No, let me back up. So
Okay.
we've always had a safety plan.
Right.
The state has changed its requirements to require districts to upload the documents to a virtual environment. We did all those things. We did those before Navigate. We just
Okay.
did it, I don't know, January, February, end of February, some of us did. And we worked through that. So that is already uploaded. This is something in addition we are not required to do, but it's something that is making the process more comprehensive and user-friendly, and I think will help ensure the safety of the students. But they're separate. So this is complying with the new safety plans. We're already in compliance. This is just improving the plan that we have. and the capabilities.
So we still have to do what you guys did. You guys still have to do that. This is just in addition so
Right,
that
and-
it's better.
Right, and then this will take the place of what we did in February. So this
Oh, it will,
savings
so they
will-
still won't have to do that. So
Right,
this
it
company will be doing it now.
Yeah, it'll override what we've done.
Okay, so how much time did it take the 3 principals to do this? I mean, I'm looking at, you know, we're spending money, so if we're saving their time, we're saving money to
Well,
put
I
towards
think
this,
the
so.
safety plan,
Had 4 components, and we had to gather those components, upload those components. They had to, so there was some time involved, but we did have those pieces already in place. It wasn't like we were creating something that didn't
Okay.
exist.
and I will tell you that Navigate is compatible with the state software, so they communicate with each other, so I think it will definitely save us time moving forward.
Okay.
It will certainly save us money when we're, and you know, in terms of not printing this widespread, and being able to update it with relative ease as opposed to, you know, changing them. You know, each year, the secretaries collect them all, they print out the changes, they put and then redistribute them at the start of the school year. This would enable us to do this on a continual basis and make sure that the plan is up to date.
And quite often, I think the other piece that impressed me, you know, much like anything else, you get a binder of some sort, it goes on a shelf. Sometimes you don't even know where it is. And in a case of an emergency, when things happen so quickly and you have to think on your feet, you grab your smartphone, you open that app, and all of the possible scenarios are in like a flip chart form almost. So if something's going on, you can look at it and go, oh, this is what's going on, click, and here's our protocol right there in front of them while it's happening real time. So I think that's really important because you're not fumbling around, where did I put that binder, where is that, where do I get it, you know?
This
And then
has come up too, this is a component, kind of a push we've been working on this spring to make the campus safer. And we have deputy coming in the Portage County Sheriff's Department to retrain and train teachers on Alice drills. And we're gonna practice one of those drills this spring and, in a sense, play through some scenarios, nothing extreme. But just so that we can exercise and make sure that our staff and students know where to go in an emergency. And that's something that this group is going to help us with as well, is making sure that our plan is a safe plan that will be good. Yeah, exactly. And they have experience with other districts, so they have a little more insight, because we have a challenge here being in the middle of, you know, a rural setting as to where to go for an emergency situation. So that's something we're looking for insight on as well.
Okay, and then you brought up something, that was my other question. We're still doing Alice training? We're still doing the Alice, that's still in place, so that works alongside this?
Yeah,
Okay.
Alice isn't a part of the safety plan.
Right, right. And then the third thing was, we have cameras in place already through, is it ADT now? I don't, or did these change?
Yeah, it's not ADT.
It used to be ADT, now it's whatever it is.
And I think even Silco changed their name.
Okay. So does this work with that, or do we not need that now, or how does that
No,
work?
It still works with it, so the way they describe it is right now, the Portage County Sheriff's Department has, I don't know, 10 bands of cameras, and they're just, they're just different web addresses, and you click on a band and then you open the screens. What this is gonna do is it's gonna partner with those existing feeds, but what the Portage County Sheriff's Department will see now is a map of the district. And you'll see in this hallway an icon of a camera. You'll click on that icon and the picture will come up. So it's easier for them to navigate through. So something's happening in the elementary building. So you go to the map of the elementary building, you see all of the cameras that are listed there in map form. You click on the camera that is in that area, and then you see the live feed.
So they'll be able to see that at the Portage County Sheriff's Office, live feed of what's going on in
And
that.
they're already able to. This is just going to make it more user-friendly for them. And
More
hopefully
spaces.
Make it
Okay.
more, I guess, able to get to the situation where it's happening sooner.
And it gives all responders the capability, correct?
Yeah, so it would give fire, EMS, everybody would have these capabilities, where right now we just have the Portage County Health Department. That's a good point. So all first responders would have access to this. So if you, oftentimes if there's an emergency, you have multiple different agencies coming in. we could, as they come on site, we could give them access to this, and then they could be using that and utilizing the services.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions about Navigate? Next thing I want to talk about is TransFinder, drag you to it.
I
Yeah,
just
drag
said drag,
me through it.
drag us
It's getting late.
Yeah.
I want to talk about TransFinder. So TransFinder is a new routing software that we're moving away from bus tops and going to TransFinder. We think that it will help us ascertain the situation we have with routing and hopefully continue to improve and help us make some decisions, some difficult decisions that you know that have been weighing on us throughout the school year. Right now, we've come to understand that the routing software that we have is antiquated, and it is also out of not out of compliance. It's not.
Hasn't been updated.
It hasn't been
Sometime.
updated with students that have been added in. So all of the routes, it's a recommendation that regardless if we move to TransFinder or not, all the routes need to be recalculated, redone. So we decided to look at other different, before we engage in that process, which is obviously going to be, to take the better part of Robin's summer, we wanted to look at different products, and we came upon TransFinder. We felt as if that would appropriately meet our needs. I will tell you that it is more expensive than the antiquated bus stops, especially that first year. But I think throughout this year, and I think it's going to take a year to transition into this and to utilize all the services, we will have a clear understanding of how we are transporting students and improve upon that. In the 2 months that Robin's been here, we're looking at already decreasing 2 routes, which is helping us with the amount of drivers that we need. I would think that this would increase her ability to effectively see the routes that we have in place and to ensure that they are the appropriate length and that they're buses aren't driving in circles. So there's a whole bunch of things that this software will do for us, and I mean there's even components where it will help you enter in all the routes and then you push a button and it helps you maximize it. So there's functions that are already in the software that will help you improve your routing. It uses Google Earth to help with that mapping. So it's using satellite images to make sure that we have accurate maps for the district. There's also a program called Info Finder. So Mr. Streeter can be out on bus duty. Kindergarten this is the first month of school at kindergarten, walks up to Mr. Streeter crying. This is not unheard of. And the little Johnny doesn't know what bus he's on. Right now what we're doing is we're radioing to the elementary office, is often radioing to the bus garage to figure out where Johnny is supposed to be. Now Mr. Streeter would have an app on his phone that he would type in Johnny's name and it would pull up all of Johnny's information. So it is helping us communicate more effectively with our students and our parents and hopefully help increase the services we're offering to our families.
And Robin has used this before, correct?
Robin has used this before.
So she doesn't need to be trained
West
on it.
Branch. She does need training.
I think she's familiar with it from a user standpoint, but as far as creating it from the ground up.
Right.
And she's getting extensive training on this. In fact, she's going to Austin, Texas at the beginning of May because to bring a TransFinder person out to the district per day, it's thousands of dollars per day. So what TransFinder has done is they have like a conference in the spring where they bring all of their schools, anybody who wants training to go to Austin, and it's much more cost effective to do that where they run courses with her. So she'll be going through that in May. And then they've already, they've talked to us about the plan of implementation and how we can get it up and running for August. And then a lot of the add-ons, for example, the apps and such in the service plan, which I'm going to talk about that for a minute, will happen throughout the course of the next school year, hopefully continually improving what we're able to do. And I will tell you that if it's the idea of going from 1 route to 2 routes, or 1 run to 2 runs, that's an $80,000 swing. If we can figure out how to keep it at 1 run and to fix the bus driver issue in terms of the amount of drivers we have, and we have to invest $10,000 the first year to do that, that's still a $70,000 win in my opinion. And then the year after that, it's a $5,000 investment, and so on and so forth.
And if we can eliminate just 1 bus run, another bus run, that's
So if we
the
eliminate
same.
one bus driver, then, or bus run, then Mr. Brooks, our mechanic, is working on buses and not running, routes. So this is, so when you ask us to look, Todd and I, to look at busing and transportation, how we can improve upon it, really, I believe there's three things that are gonna contribute. One's kind of, we're gonna talk about later, but one, I think Robin has been instrumental in her efforts, and the second one is TransFinder, and the third we'll talk to you a little later about. But there's several different things that are in place that we will think will address the transportation concerns and hopefully fix it. I will tell you, this has not been easy, as you know, we've been working on it all year. I think this is a critical piece to the puzzle.
Just want to note that I think it would be good if you, somewhere in your departing notes, I guess we'll call it, that we alert the next superintendent that we need to have some checks. That's fine. I'd expect it. I think you do that all daily anyhow. No, but I think somewhere we need to make sure that we have some checks and balances in place to make sure that we're keeping the routes and the software and all that stuff current. And you know, and it's one of those things that I wouldn't even think before this happened, I wouldn't even think that we'd have to ask that question. So I think we need to put some checks and balances in place to say that every quarter, every grading semester, whatever the time frame needs to be, it makes logical sense that we're sitting down and looking and making sure that those routes are.
I would echo that, and I will tell you that we were as surprised as you are right now.
So.
And disappointed, to be perfectly frank.
Very well put.
Yeah, because at the time when we put that in, we had all the other schools coming to us for training and advice and all of that, so that went away. I mean,
We were current for, many
That
years.
software just is not getting updated.
Yeah.
So that's a problem. But then we had a lack of oversight of managing the software efficiently, and it's put us in a spot where we have to restart. And that's very, very disappointing. And I never dreamed, Brian, that we would have to have this conversation, but this is where we are. We need checks and balances in that because this is something that was unforeseen.
And I think that software was pretty old that we had.
Oh, it's very.
I want to say
It's an antiquated.
Yeah, it's not supported anymore.
I think, and we paid about the same back then as what we're paying now for
For the initial upfront cost. Yeah.
For the initial upfront cost. I mean, I want to say it's over 10 years old.
Oh, yeah.
I think maybe even 15. Yeah.
I really think this is a good move for us, and I think it's going to address a lot of our concerns. But it costs money to do. And it's to the tune of approximately $10,000 that first year, and then $5,000 for subsequent years. Any other questions for TransFinder?
It also comes with a add-on feature for Mr. Brooks.
Yeah, the
as
service
well.
finder. So what's going to happen is that I'm glad you brought that up. That's pretty neat, actually. Ty came to me and told me that TransFinder, he worked with TransFinder before, maybe in Hudson, I don't know, but there's a component called Service Provider, and it monitors the service that needs to be done on each one of the buses in the fleet, and it does it electronically, so it keeps him on his toes and electronically addresses, this amount of mileage requires this amount of service, so things aren't slipping through the cracks, and keeping our fleet up to date as well. I think that was an excellent component. So we did that add-on as well, because maintaining the fleet is just as important as anything else in terms of longevity and the cash flow investment. We were able to stretch out that permanent improvement levy for as long as possible, but it is depleting, and as it depletes, it's all the more important that we're not going to have that money to pull from to buy new buses. So we better be darn sure that we're getting the life of each bus that we are able.
so that's what this is coming out of?
This
The PI?
No, this is coming out of general.
Just in general terms of speaking.
For buses.
We've been maintaining our fleet with the permanent improvement funds.
Okay.
And when that's gone, we'll have to start, purchasing those out of the general
Right.
funds.
Okay.
The longer we can keep our buses in service, delay throwing that money out of the general fund for new buses.
Any other questions? Next thing I have is Linda Highland came to me and said that she is going to retire as bus driver at the conclusion of this school year. She is a wonderful lady and served our district for 26 and a half years driving bus. So she has a lot to be proud of. She is going to continue on, I think, in the cafeteria, but she will not be driving beyond the school year, and I thank her for her service.
She was my children's first bus driver for both of them. She put up with the parents following the bus to the school the first day,
Oh, my God.
parking in the church parking lot at the old primary school to watch, make sure the bus pulled in right.
Oh.
Yeah. And
Parents, we have
Adam,
parents
she
that
was,
did that?
yes, strange parents, I know, but we did that. And then with Adam, we did the same thing, and she was the bus driver then. So she knew the car following her was us.
I never got caught. So.
Well, she didn't know with Megan because we had a place to go. With Adam, it was a little harder because, you know. But yeah, so she is. She's
She was
a nice
my
lady.
daughter's bus driver as well, but I didn't do that.
Oh, wow.
No, I was on the lawnmower a lot of times when she'd be dropping off. I just wave, hi.
We didn't follow her home, just to school. Just one day. Just one day.
Letter J is,
A shock.
yeah, Sandy Arbogast came to me a couple months ago and told me about this decision, and she's having a heck of a time, because this is her life, and this is her passion. And she wrote a letter, and she told me that I was going to read it to you, and she said that she gave us 27 years, and we're going to give her 3 minutes or 5 minutes for me to read this. And I am going to very kindly respect her wishes, so bear with me as I read the letter from Sandy. Dear Waterloo Board of Education, Waterloo staff, and Waterloo families, as I write this letter, it is with mixed emotions and a heavy heart. I am viewing the closing of this chapter of my life as a blessing. I have my parents to thank for instilling a strong work ethic and encouraging me to start working at 16. I got a full-time job at Robinson Memorial Hospital during the summers of my sophomore year and junior years of high school. Then after graduation, I returned to full-time work at the hospital while attending Kent State full-time to receive my bachelor's degree in elementary education. Today, because I was self-disciplined and worked full-time at a young age, I'm able to benefit from that decision. The years that I worked in PERS are added to my STRS, years making me eligible to retire with 30 years of service at any age, and this opportunity ends on July 1st when the retirement requirements change. Teaching has not just been a job to me, teaching has been my passion. It is a huge part of what makes me who I am. I've always wanted to be a teacher. I remember when I was in kindergarten, I would come home and show my parents my schoolwork and then encourage my younger brothers to come to our playroom where I could erase my papers, then teach them. And I believe that she did do that. As I reflect on my time at Waterloo, I remember walking into my first classroom in the old Waterloo Primary Building that happened to be the very same room where I once sat as a second grader with one of my favorite teachers, Mrs. Overley. I will never forget standing inside the doorway looking at 28 students' desks, an old wooden teacher's desk, and one small box of manuals and nothing else. I survived my first year of teaching and chicken pox, along with 17 of my 28 students during that year. I returned to college and finished my master's degree in reading specialization and received my permanent teaching certification. Throughout the remaining years, I continued to earn an additional 22 credit hours. I've served the Waterloo schools in many capacities beyond my classroom responsibilities. I've been reflecting on some of my accomplishments. I've been a parent-teacher organization representative for all of my 27 years and loyally attended almost every meeting and assisted with the majority of the activities. For 27 years, I was a member of the Planning and Decorating Committee of Grandparents' Day. I've served as the chairperson for the last 19 years. I've achieved my 20th year of affiliation with the Portage County Animal Protective League. Children made donations for the homeless dogs and cats instead of having Christmas gift exchange. It was a way for me to share the gift of giving with my students. This is my 10th year collaborating with the high school English department for holiday story writing, which has helped build a sense of community with our K-12 campus. And I spent the last 3 years being a volunteer with the football team as a photographer. I attended every home and away game, standing on the sidelines, taking candid shots of the senior team members and sharing them with their families. I was a member, number 6, I was a member of the Waterloo Community Action Committee. I am grateful that I taught and touched the lives of over 600 first graders during my career. My hope was to help my students develop a love for school and learning. My goals were to help students establish a strong foundation of learning and become independent workers. My focus was to create a classroom family with my students to be caring individuals who treat each other with kindness and respect. I wanted each student to know that I loved each one for the special people that they are. I told all of my students once one of my kids always wants my kids, or always wanted my kids. They knew that I meant that. Each child has made an impact on my life. As I move forward, I will miss teaching, watching my kids grow up, and annual visits from families on open house night. I've enjoyed daily visits from students on their way to class. It has meant so much to me that middle school and high school students request a volunteer aid to my classroom. I've had numerous unexpected visits from students who are home visiting family and took the time to come and see me and say thank you for making a difference in my life, and let me know how they are doing. Throughout the years, I've received many phone calls, college, wedding, and birth announcements from my students. She was actually my wedding picture. Knowing that they care means more than I can say. I know in my heart I was a dedicated teacher who strived for excellence and always gave 250% to the teaching profession I love. I've experienced many milestones in my life during my time here. I met my husband while teaching his daughter, became a stepmom of 2 children, and was blessed with a daughter of my own. Now I'm a nana. When God closes one door, he opens another. What will the next chapter hold? That is yet to be seen. My first priority will be spending extra time with my family, especially my parents, and getting to watch my grandson. Words cannot express how grateful I am to all of the Waterloo administrators, staff, and families, both past and present, who have supported my work. Many families have become part of my extended family. These people hold an extra special place in my heart. I am so happy. I have so many happy memories. My life has forever been changed from the years that I've spent at Waterloo Local Schools. It has been a great honor to serve the Atwater and Randolph communities. I am very proud of the legacy that I will leave behind. Thank you for letting me share my thoughts. With that being said, I'm submitting this letter of resignation effective June 1st, 2015. Sincerely, Sandy Arcas. She wasn't my wedding. She is a very special person to me, and she's done so much for this community, and I thank her very much. That being said, I good, Mr. Fletcher.
I just wanted to say that she's one of those teachers you just never expected her to leave. You figured she'd be here till she died. You know, I just figured she'd be here forever, like the one sitting back there. And she also didn't put on that list that she endured. She also has attended pretty much all of the board meetings up until about a year ago. So she put up with that too. So. But Sandy has done a lot for the community too, so.
Not until we do
I don't have anything unless you have any questions on it. Anything before you?
Nope. Okay, with that being said, can I have a motion to accept the consent agenda with the addition of the addendum K through O?
Second that.
Roll call?
Mr. Terry?
Yes.
Whittlesey?
Yes.
Fletcher?
Yes.
Gump?
Yes.
Brock?
Yes.
Motion passes. And without further, I think we have an executive session. So can I move to go to executive session?
So moved. Second.
She seconded.
Second.
Who first it? You did get
Lisa did.
Coming out with the action.
And I don't think we'll have any action coming out of executive.
We
We may? Okay. Roll call?
Mr. Terry?
Yes.
Whittlesey?
Yes.
Fletcher?
Yes.
Gump?
Yes.
Brock?
Yes.